live. Hey everybody, this is Roberto Blake of RobertoBlake.com, helping you create something awesome today. Welcome to another live stream. I think this is the second one of 2018, so also welcome to 2018, a little late. Today I'm going to be doing a small YouTuber Q&A session with you guys live. We've got the super chat going on over here. I'm also kind of in a new setup. I moved into a new house. You can probably tell a little bit, but there shouldn't be much of a difference for you guys in almost anything, except probably there'll be a couple of new scenes in some of my videos going forward, but the bookshelf is pretty much back to the way it was, except I changed a few things around. Have more space for the product review table now. Have the writing and podcasting table set up, turned it into a glorified phone charger. I'll do like a studio tour at some point, but yeah, today we're doing a small YouTuber Q&A because YouTube is constantly changing things, moving the goalpost as it were, and for me, I'm good with that because I'm a cross-country and track guy, so moving the finish line, moving the goalpost, it doesn't bother me as much, but I understand why it could bother some people. I understand that if you've been working hard and you thought you were very close to the goal of monetizing your channel, that could be upsetting. So I get that. I have a lot of friends who are small YouTubers. I also have some other business-related YouTube channels that are much smaller that you guys have never heard of. And so it's not like I don't still know what it's like to be a small YouTuber, because it wasn't that long ago. And on top of all of that, again, I still keep doing things where I start over from zero, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Instagram, whether it's something else. I'm always challenging myself to start over, do different things. I'm always putting myself in that position because I like to keep it fresh, because you gotta remember, I study these things and I study algorithms and part of that for a living as a consultant and someone who runs a digital agency. So I get it, guys. I get it that it's distressing and upsetting for small YouTubers right now, but I think that's a matter of perspective. I think it's a matter of shifting your goals, and I think that it's a matter of practicality. So rather than dwell on things that YouTube does that we don't like, my whole objective here is to answer a bunch of your questions, because a lot of people will say, well, big YouTubers never reach out and help small YouTubers and things of that nature. And I think that a lot of people overestimate the value of a shout out. I don't think it works the way a lot of you think it does. I think people focus way too much on the algorithm. And I guess maybe I'm partly to blame for people focusing on the algorithm because I talk about it quite often. But I think people obsess over the algorithm. I think that people obsess over things like monetization. Your first year on YouTube when you're getting started is just like your first year of playing a sport or playing a musical instrument. It's not about getting a crowd. It's not about getting cheering fans. It's not about getting paid for that. The first year that you play a musical instrument, you'd never expect one to be good at it. You'd never claim to be good at it. And you would want people to not watch you play that musical instrument because you're like, well, I'm terrible right now. I'm learning this, right? My first couple of years where I was playing sports, I didn't expect to win. I didn't expect to score goals. I wanted to learn the rules. I wanted to get good. And so I want to kind of push more people to go in that direction. But that's kind of the philosophical component. What I want to do right now is I want to jump into Q&A. For those of you super chatting, you guys know that sometimes I do channel reviews for small channels. So what I'm going to do is this. At the end of Q&A, because I'm literally only going to be here for an hour because I've got something I got to take care of in an hour, plus I need to cook dinner at some point. So we're cutting this at 7:30. In fact, I'll probably just set an alarm now, but we're cutting this at about 7:30, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer as many of your questions as I can for about 45 minutes. Then with the last 15 minutes, I'm going to do 5 YouTube channel reviews, but I'm only going to review the 5 channels that request it, that do the highest super chats. So I'll do that at the end, and then that's kind of a little bit of a competition. So that's always fun. Competition is fun, right? I think that's a thing. It's always been fun for me. I like competing. You should mostly compete with yourself. I always just try to beat whatever my last goal was. So I've started a countdown timer. So I'm legit not going to be doing a stream for 3 hours. I know I've said that in the past, but I've actually got something to hold me accountable now. Um, but I'm gonna answer a bunch of your questions. Um, Again, a lot of people say that no one ever helps them. Well, I'm here and I'm gonna help you. So let's go ahead and let me move the keyboard a little bit so I've got room here. Let's dig into some of your questions. Also, thank you. I'm going to say thank you to the people who have super chatted across the board. Thank you for the 20 bucks Canadian. Thank you so much for the last bunch of feedback. We've tried to improve our banner, thumbs, and presentation. Still having trouble with closing subs. All right, so we'll get to that. We'll answer some questions. Kick Arts, you want a follow-up review? We'll see. We'll see. Michael Maestro Pierce, $10. Respect. Thank you. Conduci, review please. Conduci Racing, thanks in advance. All right, we'll see if you make it when we do the end of the stream. So let's see here. We got some questions. D-Dog asks, did they make new changes? Yes, so for those of you who may not be aware, in order to monetize your YouTube channel and play ads, and I have a link to the article about this in the description for you guys, YouTube made it so that instead of needing 10,000 views in terms of lifetime channel views to monetize, you need 4,000 hours of watch time, which is 240,000 minutes. And you also need 1,000 subscribers. 1,000 subscribers is what YouTube calls the opal level, and then 10,000 subscribers is the bronze level. At 10,000 subscribers, all the features in the YouTube dashboard are unlocked for you, and you also have access to the YouTube creator space to film projects, and I think you get like half a day's worth of access with that. So you're a fully qualified, fully fledged YouTuber at 10,000 subscribers. Personally, I think that that should be the goal that people set for themselves overall, not their first year. I don't think a lot of you are setting subscriber goals of what you want to reach in the first year. I'm against that. I understand that setting goals can be helpful, but you can't control how many subscribers you get. I would rather that if you're going to set a goal for your first year on YouTube, I would set a goal for meeting a standard in terms of your video production, your audio, your editing, and how many videos you actually are able to produce that first year, and how many videos you have a goal of how many. I want to be able to get to 2 videos a week or 3 videos a week. I would set a goal like that. Oh, I want to be able to know how to do this technique with video. Like some of you said you want to know how to do the thing where I put the comments up on the screen. Learning those techniques, that's like a great goal for you, is to learn techniques and to learn skills. I don't think subscriber count and view numbers are practical goals because you have no control over that. Not really. There are things you can control that help those things, but you're not responsible for whether you meet that goal or not, to be honest. There's a lot of other variables outside of your control, no matter how good you are, that affect that. So I don't want you to put your focus on whether you're doing a good job on your viewer subscriber count. I don't think objectively that determines the quality of what you do. So I think that those are vanity metrics. And even though I did get to 10,000 my first 12 months of being an active YouTuber, and I say being an active YouTuber because I started my account in 2009, mostly to comment on other people's videos, and I put up a camera test video. I did like 5 videos the first year I was on YouTube because I wasn't taking it seriously and I didn't really care about it. And even the first year I was on YouTube, I was doing tutorials because I just wanted to teach people, because let's face it, no college is gonna like let me teach the way that I want to teach. The traditional education model is very interesting in what it does and doesn't allow for. So I was just using it to put out stuff that I thought would help people like me. That was my entire goal with YouTube. I didn't expect everything else that came with it. And I was using it also to market my freelance business. So I was always using YouTube as a vehicle for something else that I wanted, never as a goal by itself. And I still, to this day, use YouTube as a vehicle instead of making YouTube a goal or making YouTube a dream. So I just want to, again, give you guys a little bit of perspective as I answer your questions. And I hope that answers your question about what YouTube changed. They moved the requirement to monetize with ads, and that can be discouraging for some people. But I feel like monetization should be something you strive for and aspire to. I don't think it's something that people should have day one, which is what they've had for the last 5 years, but it used to be much harder than that. So, that's what I have to say about it. But we got some questions here, so I want to scroll to some. I want to answer questions I haven't gotten before. So I like interesting, different questions. So let's see here. Okay, some of you are actually asking each other questions, so that's really cool. I appreciate that. I love that you guys are having conversations in the chat. Northern Exotic says, I'm 4 months old, 260 subscribers, 9,000 views, 400 hours of watch time. Is that okay? That's more than okay. That's abnormal. That's actually abnormal. I would say that that's actually really good, but I don't think you should consider there. I don't feel like there's a baseline because every niche is different. Every audience demographic is different. It's easier to rack up watch time in some cases if you have a younger demographic, because younger people are watching YouTube videos on their smartphone when they come home from school, and they have from the time they come from school to go to bed. It's a lot harder to grow a channel with my demographic, for example, is like a lot of people who have a lot of subscribers, a lot of their audience is young, right? Because if you're like me and your concentration is like 18 to 34-year-olds and then it's higher, like 7% of my audience is under 18. I have the few teenagers, they're out there hustling and grinding and want technical skills and are into creativity, right? But mostly I have working adults, college students, and people who are established in their career watching my channel, which is what I want. Those people also have the disposable income to hire my agency or to buy my products, or to buy the products of my sponsors. So that's a intentional thing for me of a demographic that I want. That being said, if young people want to hustle and they want to learn skills and they are creative, I want to be there for them too, but I'm not really trying to grow the youth market. But that's the biggest vertical in YouTube if you wanted to grow fast, is that you would hit the young. They also have the most disposable time, so you get more views and watch time from younger viewers. But if you are someone who's got an older audience, or you're an older person, you're over 40 or 50, and you want to reach people like you because of your expertise or because of the culture of what you do, then it's more difficult to grow views and subscribers when you're an older person in the platform. I came to the platform in my late 20s, early 30s. I'm 33, about to be 34 this year. So it's very hard for me to, say, appeal to younger viewers, which make up the majority of YouTube. So when someone says, oh, you should have more subscribers, or you should have, it's like, there's only so many people of the age bracket that I want that are available in a pool of audience, and I have to keep working to reach them. So unless something I do hits a younger demographic and then they like the other stuff, then it makes sense. So don't assume there's a normal in YouTube itself, because every channel has a unique set of demographics. Every channel has, actually, let's take a look at that. I'll bring up my screen and show you like some of the demographics around my audience. Demographics. Because it makes a difference, guys. Like the demographic thing is real, and psychographics are real. Like there's a different trend of culture in the niche of gaming versus the niche of DIY versus education channels. It's different. So don't expect normalcy, or don't expect there to be a baseline in YouTube for that kind of thing, or like, oh, this is what I should expect in year one or whatever, because it's different for everybody because of the literally hundreds, if not thousands, of variables to an individual channel. Just like you're a unique human being, there's a few things that are normal across the board for all human beings. It's the same thing with social media platforms. But these algorithms are really advanced, and they really do go off of specific user data. So like if you look at it, the amount of my audience, oh Christ, less of my audience is under 18 than I thought. Dramatically less. Wow. 3% of my audience is under 18. Okay, well, hey, I'm into that. That's great. I actually kind of want that. So it looks like, yeah, over 70% of my audience is that 18 to 34-year-old bracket, and then it's mostly older. I really wish that I was resonating more with a female audience. Female audiences are much better on watch time. They also make commitments as buyers and consumers in a very real way. So I really wish that I had a stronger like foothold with a female audience, but I'll work on that. There's only so much you can do about that. But yeah, I really love that the 65-year-olds that are on YouTube, I'm getting them. That's actually tremendous to me. So, I mean, that's real data. Like, that's real data. And then if I compare this to, like, well, who's giving me my watch time, I think that becomes interesting. I mean, there's so much you can see in YouTube analytics. It's like, it's pretty insane, guys. 25 to 30, like, that's a real strong portion of my audience. Look at that. Like, most of my audience is 25 to 34. Isn't that insane, like, to think about? But look at and wow, look at how much my audience is, like, 35 to 40, like, yeah, the smallest amount of my audience is young people and people who are 65. Like, the 65-year-olds are competing with the sliver of my audience that is 13 to 17. That's amazing. Like, I'm winning the 65-year-olds over that are in YouTube. That's fantastic. But so yeah, that's like, my advice would be for you guys to really think about what your demographics are, and then understand that comparatively to the YouTube platform as a whole, and start to balance those things out. Oh, so we got some pretty big super chats here. Zach Tech Reviews wants another review. Okay, $50 Canadian. So you're in the lead. And Nathaniel Morton with a $50 US. Awesome, crushing it. Chew on Vegan. I love your videos, always helpful. I'm 61 and do vegan cooking, and we've learned not to compare ourselves to other channels. Yes! Thank you that message is getting across. And you see why you can't compare yourself to other channels, because I showed you the analytics. Like, nobody's analytics is going to be the same. And so trying to say that there's a normalcy to YouTube is impractical if you're not accounting for the demographic data, the type of genre that you have and that you're in, and what a trend might be for that. So I would just pay attention to that. So Vic Torre asked, any advice for story animators? Should you focus on just making quality but infrequent videos and bank outside of on an outside source of income like Patreon, or have content that might not be as quality? It's a number of things for YouTube animators. I may make a dedicated video to this. It's like, I want to talk to a YouTube animator on camera about this, but like, and like let them tell you. But like, as a business person and as somebody who's done like literally so many YouTube videos, and like I've also consulted with people, what I'll say is this: animators have it rough in YouTube, sure, but they're also, I'm going to say it because it's not going to be a popular opinion, but I'm going to say it. Animators are playing the victim card in YouTube because they're fantasizing about the way it used to be in YouTube and what they think they should be doing instead of doing something wildly practical. Animators should be crushing it in Instagram as their primary platform right now for short form content under a minute, if they're doing, because it takes so long to produce a minute of animation, right? I know that because I used to want to be an animator. If I were starting as an animator today, I would have a YouTube channel as my Netflix, as an aggregate for my body of work because of the search engine thing, but I wouldn't just, like, animators are also romanticizing YouTube. All animators want to do is have a YouTube channel that has all their finished animations, and everyone's refusing to do behind the scenes. Everybody's refusing to show the rough drafts. Everyone's refusing to show the storyboards. They're refusing to do animation tutorials to supplement it. And that's just wildly impractical to me. If I were a YouTube animator starting out today, I'd be sitting there doing live streams of me doing a working session on my animation, and I would talk to my audience out loud while I'm doing that, or even while I'm doing character concepts and storyboarding and drawing, and I'd be doing live streams in YouTube and simulcasting probably to Twitch when I'm doing my work as an animator, and then I'd let people see the final finished product as a final thing on my YouTube channel, and then I'd be doing compilations of that, and I would be doing a series of something, and I'd also do a series of shorts, probably over an Instagram, and then port them over to YouTube. Use Instagram not to grow the YouTube channel, because screw going the YouTube channel. I would be using Instagram to then move people to my website as an animator to buy merchandise around my original characters and my artwork and my doodles and my posters and my other merch, and I would use Instagram as a huge merchandising play as an animator and illustrator, and I'd be making bank hand over fist. If I was an animator, I'd also be sitting there and I'd be setting up a service that people can pay me hundreds of dollars for 10 seconds of animation, custom, and I would also be selling graphics packs of character art that could be used in marketing as those generic characters with glasses or test tubes or pencils or whatever that you see in marketplaces like Envato and iStock Photo and Adobe Stock. If I were an animator, it means I'm also an illustrator. I'd be selling products around illustration to marketers, and I'd be selling the service of animation to whoever wants it. I'd be using YouTube as a portfolio and body of work and search engine. I'd be using it to prove myself with behind the scenes. I'd be building a community that rallies to me. I'd have a Patreon, but I'd also have a YouTube and a Twitch, and I would simulcast live streaming when I'm working so that I'm siphoning content out of my actual work, then show the finished product. And I'd also be doing micro content in Instagram on a regular basis. And I know that Instagram stuff goes away, but you can use highlights now in Instagram stories, and there's the Instagram grid. And I'd be using all of that as a funnel to sell my merch. And then I'd be buying cheap Instagram ads because they're so freaking cheap to grow my Instagram, and I wouldn't be siphoning traffic for that to YouTube, because screw that, I would use it to sell merch. So I'd make money on merch, hand over fist. I'd make money selling the graphic illustration packs, and then I'd make money because I'd have the service of being hired out as an animator, and screw AdSense. Because I'm tired of you guys trying to live off AdSense because it doesn't work. Like, selling stuff works. So that's your long rant for every YouTube animator. Have them reference what are we into. Have them reference like minute 20 of this stream now and forever, because that's the answer. Like, that's the answer. And again, I went in, like, I know I went ranty on that one, but you know how it is. But like, it's so, and I get that it might be obvious to me, but I guarantee you that even though I said it, the far majority of people doing animation in YouTube and social media aren't going to want to do what I said because they're being romantic. And I know that because I know too many starving artists. They're the best illustrators I've known of all time, and they're working crappy jobs instead of making money off their art. I know people 10x more talented than me, and I've made more money as an artist than all of them. And I don't say that to brag. I say that because it's a tragedy. So that's why I say it. I say it because, like, practicality and hustle, a practical application is why a C student can beat an A student. A C student that's well-rounded and knows enough about something to be dangerous can beat an A student that's a specialist that can't land that one trick pony thing that they're good at. And so that matters. Like, let's see. Cosmix Axe, is this Casey Neistat merch? Yeah. Merch. Work harder. Merch. Let's see. Mandy, a mixed media queen, says, I'm almost at 500 subs, really trying to learn the behind the scenes stuff. In relevant question, did you move? Yup. WGBS podcast says, Roberto, people are complaining that monetization and search are connected, so if they aren't monetized, they won't show up unsuggested as much. Can you address this? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. So what you guys need to understand is that the monetization system in YouTube is called Google Adwords. That's where advertisers like me, that's where agencies like me go and buy ads, and it's an auction-based marketplace, and then those ads are distributed not just against YouTube, but against Google sites and properties that leverage Google and DoubleClick and other ad networks that are tied into Google's platform for advertising. So if something is within the AdWords network, which also includes Google properties, including Blogger.net, including YouTube, including a lot of the applications in the Google Play Store, because YouTubers make the mistake of thinking that YouTube AdSense is a YouTube-specific feature. It predates YouTube, and it ain't got jack to do with YouTube. It's a Google product that sits above it and has always sat above it for years. Google AdWords way predates YouTube, and so YouTubers need to stop being very vain about that and thinking that YouTube ads are special, because they're not. It's a Google product that's distributed. When the adpocalypse happened, it didn't just affect YouTubers. It affected everybody that is an app developer in the Google Play Store. It affected everybody that has advertising as a publisher on their website or on their blog and their podcast. And it also affected all these other people outside of YouTube because it's part of the Google ecosystem. And again, YouTubers are very narrow in their thinking. And I say that, again, I talk to YouTubers all the time, and I'm not like trying to razz people, but I'm trying to give you a perspective of there's a bigger picture here, and you need to understand that to understand why Google monetization and Google search and discovery are separate systems, because they've always been separate systems, okay? So what happens is that some YouTubers, some big YouTubers, will tell you that, well, when they had a video demonetized, that they didn't get as much traction on that video as videos that are monetized. But there's so many variables in an individual video that you can't always attribute it to that. And just because there might be a pattern or a correlation, it doesn't mean that's the root cause. That ignores the scientific method. It ignores practicality. Just because this thing happened doesn't mean it's the cause. And just because when this thing happens, sometimes this other thing happens, it means they're related, but it doesn't mean that there's a cause. Because you can have a video that's monetized that still doesn't get traction. And you can have a video that's demonetized that still goes through the roof. And that happens pretty regularly. I mean, most of Philip DeFranco's stuff is demonetized right now, and he's still getting millions upon millions of views on these videos, and they're still performing even when they're demonetized. H3H3 still getting it. And I know they've specifically also said that sometimes that doesn't happen, but if you've ever written code, and I'm going to remind some of you guys that in my past life I was a Flash developer back in the day. I was a Flash developer. I was an ActionScript guy, did some PHP, MySQL, JavaScript. I wasn't a programmer per se, but I was what you might call a junior web developer, mostly front end, but I did specialize in Flash application development, okay? And so I was building a Flash media player very similar to the old YouTube video player. And so there's some interesting things that I have a perspective on about this. So in writing code and thinking like a programmer, and a lot of my friends or homies are programmers, and I talk to them about this, and I talk to data scientists about this too. I read some Google engineering white papers, and what I'll tell you is this. There are multiple algorithms and there are multiple user agents because there is an algorithm for the ads that pairs and rates and evaluates individual YouTube content to say that you're a beauty channel. I should be pairing you with L'Oreal ads, and I should be pairing you with MAC Cosmetics ads and things of that nature, right? That's a completely different system with a completely set of different responsibilities. It's deciding whether or not it pairs you with these ads, it's determining ad rates, it's determining the number of ad distribution on your particular videos because of relevancy, which is why your titles, descriptions, and tags matter, not just to the search and discovery algorithm, but to the ad algorithm as well, because those things can determine what ads you get, the price point of those ads, and also the frequency of distribution of ads against your channel and against that particular video. So it's a separate system. The thing is that there is another besides search and discovery, and we're just going to call this the indexing algorithm as a shorthand. That's just for reference so you can understand what it does. Before search and discovery and before the ad algorithm ever get to a video, it has to be indexed for YouTube and Google, which means it has to be categorized, it has to be sorted. Think of this like the Harry Potter sorting hat. If you guys are familiar with the Harry Potter franchise at all, this makes sense to you. Is this a tech video? Does this video have closed captions? What is the length of this video? What is the title of this video? What is the description of this video? What are the tags for this video? Does this video have comments enabled? Is this a standard YouTube license? Is this a Creative Commons license? It indexes everything about your channel to know what it indexes everything about your video to know what your video actually is. While it's doing that, it's also setting parameters and flags and categorizing that video for the other algorithms to make decisions. If the indexing algorithm flags and assigns a code to a video and its metadata that determines it's something or the other, this flag will be seen by search and discovery, and this flag will also be seen by the ad bot. Okay? So the search bot and the ad bot can both look at a flag, and then they can make a decision with that information. They might come to the same conclusion or different conclusions. So that's why sometimes when a video is demonetized, it also underperforms in search and discovery. Okay? That's the reason. It's nothing nefarious, and it's not like demonetization is out to then bury a video, per se. Also, as someone who works with sponsors, as someone who talks to a lot of YouTubers and has a lot of friends who specifically make their money on YouTube brand deals and sponsorships, what small YouTubers don't know and don't take for granted is that most of us, when we do sponsorships, can't put ads on the video for the first 15 days as part of the contract most of the time unless we negotiate otherwise. Those videos still get views. Sometimes we can't do it for 30 days. Those videos still get views. Sometimes the deal is that you can't put ads on it at all if you take the brand's money, if it's enough money, or if you want a higher rate, or if they're also giving you a commission on all the product that you sell against that thing too. So when we do brand deals, the video doesn't get buried when we purposely opt out of monetization for 15 or 30 days. It doesn't work that way, guys. So that's why I want to address the myth of monetization. And I know the common logic is that why would YouTube promote videos that don't make them money? The far majority of videos, even things that sometimes go viral, don't make YouTube money because the ad inventory that matches those particular videos is thin because businesses don't want to run ads on things that 14 and 13-year-olds are going to watch because those things don't translate to any sales for the brand. The only brands that do that are large consumer-facing product brands that need that level of brand awareness and will like keep those people for like 3 decades once they ever buy anything, or that needs to be top of mind with them so that 3 years they care about it or whatever. And those are things like your Pepsi or your Coca-Cola or whatever. So those brands don't care about age demographics, but all the brands that spend real money, they care about age demographic. And yeah, Coke and Pepsi spend real money, but you get what I mean. Like I'm talking like your Microsofts and your Samsungs, and so they care, right? And they'd rather reach an older market than a younger market because of disposable income. YouTube also needs to refine their search and their indexing algorithms and things of that nature, and they're not going to suppress video views because they need the clean raw data, because YouTube makes its real money in data collection and in what they do, because that's how Google works as a company. So you'd have to respect and appreciate that perspective to understand that they're not going to suppress these things because they're not making that much money. And you have to understand that YouTube only recently became profitable on ads, and guys, it ain't that profitable. Like, real talk, it's not making them that much money. Google's one of the only companies that could afford to run YouTube at a loss for the last... They were running YouTube at a loss for 2005, 6, 7. So from 2005, when YouTube was founded, it was acquired in November of 2006. So let's round that up to 2007. From 2007 through 2015 or 16, for like conservatively, let's say from 2007 to 2015, Google was operating YouTube at a loss. At a loss. Billions of dollars of infrastructure, billions of dollars between infrastructure, salaries, R&D, and Google could afford to do it at a loss. So if you think that they are suppressing videos to lose on average 1 to 4 cents per view, and that means something to them, I would say that you need to take a class in business. Okay? And I understand that most people haven't. Most people in YouTube haven't. Most big YouTubers haven't. That's fine. But understand how a business like Google actually operates, and you start to see a pattern of what makes sense. And because I've always approached this as a businessman, I've never been surprised by what Google and YouTube do at all, except when they're wildly generous or altruistic. Yeah, so that's what I would say about that. It's a good question. And I know it's the question that's on a lot of people's minds, is how that works. But, like, that's a thing. Google as a company has so many licenses. Do you realize how much technology Google actually owns? Like, it's a big deal. Granted, Google makes a lot of money on ads. Google does. YouTube is not where they're making most of that money. Because, again, YouTube is a relatively new product comparatively to all the other stuff Google has been doing, if you think about it. And again, Google owns so much intellectual property. I don't think you guys really understand how embedded Google is into the fiber of our lives. I think if you think about the money that they make from what they have in terms of licenses, patents on technology, proprietary algorithms, like, it's a little frightening in a way. So I don't think people fully appreciate that. Leslie Bradley asks, when starting out a business, what's the essential main key things for getting it up and running? Great question. I need to make a video about that. But I would say, aside from having a business plan, aside from having all the local legal documents in place, aside from knowing about what the tax structure of the business is, what type of entity you're going to... Actually, here's the short version. Leslie, get this book called Start Your Own Business, 6th edition in Amazon. This book literally will answer like so many of your questions. It's really good, and it is something I recommend for anybody starting a small business. It'll tell you everything you need to know in terms of what tax structure to use, what legal filings you need to do, how to look up things for your small business association locally. Like, it's a really good book, and I highly recommend it. So, Leslie, that's actually a more practical thing than me, like, trying to answer that question in a very general way. Jess says, hey, Roberto, just want to say thanks for great content and the hope. I'm a small gaming channel, and the How to Grow Your YouTube Game channel in 2018 was awesome. 2018 is my time. Yeah, absolutely. Bijou Mike, I think, is about to clear 1 million subscribers. So I think that, like, that's going to really help you, because he had, 2 years ago, he had 1,000 subscribers, and he's about at 1 million now. So if you're a gaming channel, it's not over. It's really not. There's still opportunity for YouTube gaming. It's me, Merlin, says, Roberto, any advice for channels who's trying to change content? I'm at 5K because of reactions, but I want to do more than that. Hopefully you see this comment. It's me, Merlin. I would say introduce other content into your channel slowly, and then you'll see how your audience responds to it. John Fox says, hey, Roberto, I was thinking of doing 3 specific things on 3 specific days of the week. They're completely different things. Would you say this is too much diversity on one channel? John, it depends on if they have a similar type of audience at all. You know that I go that route, but I have an overall theme for my channel, so I can do that, but I would say that it's very difficult. But you have to see how your audience responds to you. If you want to do it, I would say go for it, buddy. But you have to see how your audience is going to respond. Jody Plammer says, what if we don't reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of 12 months with a lot of still... 12 months with a lot still have our YouTube channel. You'll have your YouTube channel, but like, if you don't put the pressure on yourself. I understand that you want the 1,000 subscribers because you want to be monetized, because then you're in the YouTube partner program, you feel like you're a real YouTuber, but like, focus on your content and focus on your audience. It sounds hokey, but hear me out on this. The content is a body of work, and it's the proof of what you're capable of. The subscriber count is not that, because there's no accounting for taste. There's no accounting for taste, right? So there are great channels out there that have less subscribers, and there are trash channels that have millions of subscribers. So there's no accounting for taste, and then you have to think about who your audience actually is, and you have to deliver for that specific audience, and it may not be fast enough of an audience. It may not be an audience that has enough of a presence in YouTube to get you to 1,000 in 12 months. And that's okay. I want you to understand that it is not it's okay to not do 1,000 subscribers in 12 months. It's okay to not have 1,000 subscribers by February 20th for monetization. It's okay to do that. It's okay to take your time and build a channel that has content that you're proud of and that represents you well, or that serves the need of a specific group of people. That is perfectly okay. I don't want you to put this extraordinary pressure on yourself to reach a certain threshold of views or subscribers because you think that that is what being a YouTuber is. Making great content for a group of people who may not have anybody representing them, like, that matters. That's important. If you, like, I mean, my friend Chris Boutte, he does a mental health YouTube channel, and he talks about depression, suicide, addiction, very important topics, and he just grew to 1,000 subscribers. I think he may have made the watch time requirement, but his channel started out really rough, and then he reached out and he became part of my Awesome Creator Academy, and with help of the group and some mentoring and using other people in the group as an example and getting some feedback, he grew his channel in this past year exponentially versus what he was doing. So sometimes what you guys need to do is don't do sub for sub and think that's supporting each other. You'd be better off, instead of trying to get like 100 or 1,000 people to do sub for sub with you and think that that's support. Real support would be getting 4 or 5 people that you can go to, that you guys will be honest with each other about the quality of your work, and when you need them to give you constructive criticism, they're willing to be honest with you and not coddle you or worry about hurting your feelings. Kimberly Mitchell says, hey, may I have a quick review, please? Thank you, $20 super chat. Kimberly, we'll see what we got going on at the end of the stream. So, I mean, I just think that, like, and people are saying, oh, well, like, times are hard on YouTube. Like, times are always hard on YouTube. Like, there's no making it. Like, at almost 300,000 subscribers, I still obsess about the quality of my content and what I can do better in terms of my on-camera performance and charisma and my energy levels, my tonality. I think about whether I'm being empathetic enough and whether I'm, like, addressing the needs of different people in my community enough versus just one group of people that I'm much more comfortable with, and balancing that. I think about, like, you think I sit here and I relax because, oh, I have all these subscribers, or, oh, I have all these views on the channel. Like, no. There's no, like, I don't take it deadly serious. I take the businesses that I run between awesomecreatoracademy.com and Create Awesome Media and my speaking career. I take that deadly seriously. But YouTube, I think about because it's the place where I have the biggest reach to impact people's lives if I'm not at a conference speaking to them directly. This platform is my platform with my biggest voice until I grow the podcast more. So it matters to me whether I'm doing enough of the right things or enough of this type of content or that type of content versus skewing it one way or the other. I have even been pulling back a little bit, except for, like, interviews with friends and some other tips videos. I've been pulling back on YouTube advice because I really want to help people in the freelance and entrepreneur community as artists make real money this year, because I think too many people are turning to YouTube as a quick cash solution and it doesn't work. And I think that people could sell a product or service if they only knew what tools were available to them or how to monetize their actual skills. And they'd make literally hundreds or thousands of dollars a month compared to YouTube, and struggling and thinking YouTube is going to change their life, when in reality they have other tools that they could be deploying that will change their life faster and make them real money. And that's where a lot of my focus has been lately, because I want people to, like, financially, like, that's a real thing. If you are struggling financially, if you're broke, the answer isn't turning to YouTube. Like, that's real, okay? If you're broke, there's so many things you can do that will net you $100 to $500 or $50 a day or $30 a day a lot faster than you'll ever get a $100 check out of YouTube and Google. And that's real. Like, straight up and down. The Fire God IS says, in video, how do you space out a topic so your audience does not leave because you took too long to get to the point, but also not leaving early because you got to the point too fast? Pacing is important. I think that if you maintain high enough energy and charisma, and if you really are engaging with the audience, I think that's about having a strong on-camera presence for one thing. But I also think that visual and audio cues keep people around longer. I think the tonality of the music on a channel in terms of background music helps. I also think that strong visual cues, either in the form of changing the scene or changing the set, or even a motion graphic, I think that those things can help. Let's see. We got some other questions here. What else we got? Andy B. Calderon says, I'm focused on being creative and creating content. Everything else is secondary for now. Yup. Tom's Trains and Things. Have you heard the 4,000 hours requirement is a running total? So if you fall below this, you will need to reapply. Heard this from a TC on the YouTube help forum. I think it's running, and it might be running for the year. I think it's a 12-month thing. But here's the thing. That's real, because here's a part of that makes sense. Is, remember what I said about Google AdWords and the advertising pool? There's only so many ads to go around to so many channels, and there's only so many ads that match a certain genre, right? There's only so many ads to put across so many beauty channels. There's only so many ads for so many tech channels, and so by screening out channels that don't meet or maintain a certain threshold or quota, that makes sense, because that means that everybody that's already making a living on the platform or doing well on the platform or making pocket money on the platform, that their money is increased and preserved. But it also means that advertiser spending isn't necessarily wasted on things that won't have the impact they're looking for. Because to be honest with you, and I know it sucks and it sounds derogatory towards small channels, but small channels a lot of times can't accomplish enough for a brand to be worth the money that they're putting into it. Like, from a brand's point of view, from an advertiser's point of view, when they spend money, they want 10 to 100 times of that coming back, and a small channel that's starting out may not have enough of a enough traction or enough resonance with an audience to convert yet, you know? So it comes down to, I don't like thinking of YouTube as a job, because I don't think it's a job. I think it's more like independent contracting. But if I even put it in that context, if I have 100 independent contractors and I'm making my real money off of like 10 of those 100 independent contractors, I should favor and I should do more to keep those 10 independent contractors that bring in 80-90% of the money for the business than worrying about just keeping the other 90 around to be nice or to give them a shot. If they prove themselves, they can earn more, but I should give a better deal to the 10 guys and gals that are making me the most money, and, like, you know, because even if they're all working equally hard, but 10 of the top 10% with the same work ethic are making me the most money, what is a business person am I supposed to do? Run a charity? Like, that's real. So, like, I understand the resentment toward YouTube for making this decision, but as a business decision for the advertisers and for the company as a whole and for the creators that are performing the best, it makes total sense. The only point at which you don't like it is if you're not anyone who's benefiting from it, but that doesn't invalidate it from being the right thing. Like, that, and that's harsh. It's bad. I get it. It feels not great. But I want to be honest with you about how it works, because, you know, it's a business. It's like, you know, and you have to think of it in that perspective. So that's why I also don't make as much of an emotional investment in YouTube, and I always approach it very practically. My emotional investment is in you guys as an audience. Not in the raw subscriber number, but in the individuals behind the number. right? Not in the views, but in the impact and whether one of those views was the right view or if that view was somebody whose life was changed or a difference was made, because it's real. Because at conferences, I'll go up to people and they'll be like Roberto, I actually like pivoted and now I have this podcast and I'm getting sponsors because I focused less on YouTube, like you said. Or, hey, Roberto, I started freelancing and now I have this big client and, you know, it turned into a job and now I have a steady paycheck for my family. Like, those things actually really matter to me. And so I just always want you guys to keep perspective. Perspective is ridiculously important if you're going to be in this game. There are people that lost perspective and they're not around in YouTube despite the fact that they were crushing it. Like, there's a reason. So that matters. Official Drama Side says, is it better to specialize in one area or is a variety channel better? It depends on your personality 100%. If you're an ADHD person like me, you might have to do a variety. If you're somebody who is obsessed with one thing and you love it, then do that. Like, play to your strengths. Play to your strengths. Ria says, is it possible to grow a YouTube channel without the need of Facebook? Yeah. Facebook didn't help me that much. I use Facebook to grow my business, not my YouTube channel. Facebook crushes it for me. I make thousands of dollars because of Facebook, even without running ads. Ads haven't been working as well for me in Facebook, but I'm going to do somebody's Facebook ad course, and it's going to probably crush it for me. And I can probably, like, 5x my money. So I'm going to be that. McGee Film says, I just want to be noticed. McGee, I'm going to be very ruthless with you on this one. If your thing is I just want to be noticed, it's probably not going to happen. Because that's about what you want. It's not about what someone else wants. No one cares if somebody else wants to be noticed. We notice people who deliver what we want. Like, it doesn't matter if we want to be noticed. We have to make an impact and a meaning for somebody for them to care. Like, that's my problem with most people who are in this game, is they're in it because they want this, they want that, versus it's about what they can get instead of what they're trying to provide, and no one's interested in you getting yours. They're interested in what you provide to them, and you can have yours if you deliver on that. Supply and demand. Supply and demand. Like, I mean, it sounds horrible. I want you to understand, until you make people care about you, they don't. Until you make people care about you, they don't. They have 10 minutes. What entitles you to that 10 minutes? They could be spending that 10 minutes learning a new skill. They could spend that 10 minutes as 10 minutes where they decompress after a rough day at work. What, are you worth it? Are you doing what you need to do to make yourself worth that 10 minutes? They could be doing any number of things. They could be washing the dishes. They could be making out. They could be watching mainstream media. They could be doing any number of things. What entitles you to that 10 minutes? What do they get out of it? I really want more people to think like that. I want people to think about, what is it I'm doing that is worth people's time and attention? What am I giving them that would entitle me to that time and attention? Supply and demand. It really is something that I think is taken for granted. Happy family fun time. Roberto rocks. Big fan. Thank you. That's a super nice compliment. Tankers Lee FX says, I think a niche channel will grow faster. I have a sort of variety channel, unfortunately. Sometimes a niche channel will grow faster, but a niche channel also could fall off. And also, if you fall out of love with your niche, you're essentially screwed at that point. So that's, you know, that's something that happens. That's happened to a lot of YouTube creators. Just kind of keep that in mind. Let's see. We've got a few other questions here. Josh Young Vlog says, so what is the best way to advertise your channel starting out? I watch some of your videos and I share on Google Plus and Facebook. I also do 20 to 30 tags per video. Anything else you should do? One, Josh, if you're doing 20 to 30 tags, you're probably overdoing the tags. And you're probably doing single word tags, which means you're probably not tagging correctly, which probably is hurting you. And then if it's vlogs, tags aren't going to help you as much with search unless it's something specific. They might help with ads, though. So don't ignore tags just because you're a vlogging channel or a gaming channel, because it could help with the pairing with the right ads. So that's a thing. But the thing is you have to find places, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. You have to find places where people are. And again, it's not about advertising your channel. It's about advertising the value of your channel. Like, your thing says, like, Josh Young Vlogs. I have no idea what your life is about. I have no idea what you're doing. I don't know if you're a traveler. I don't know if you're a gamer. I don't know if you're an artist. I have nothing to make me understand why I'm supposed to care about who you are and how we're related. I have nothing that says that, oh, you know what? You're part of the goth table. I'm going to go and sit at the goth table at lunch today. Oh, you're part of the jock table. I have no way of putting you as a human being, because we're lazy, in the right category to say that, oh, we got stuff in common. Let me check you out. Like, no, that's the problem with vlogs, and vloggers have to have a storyline or have to have an identity that is represented to the audience so that we can identify with you and relate to you. In Boy Meets World, we knew who Corey Matthews was. He was the awkward, middle-class, not popular, not unpopular guy. And we knew that his best friend Sean Hunter was the bad boy from the bad boy rebel with a heart of gold from the wrong side of the tracks that lives in the trailer park, right? We knew that Steve Urkel was the nerd next door that would always come through for you, and you know, he'd get on your nerves, but he's always a good guy, and he always comes through for you. He has your back. So we know that. Will Smith, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, loud, goofy, funny dude. Who is a constant screw up, you know? So we have like a way to identify characters in a sitcom. Friends is a good example of archetypes, right? In the context of YouTube and vlogging, while you're being your authentic self, the problem is you still need to find a smart way to get across something that people understand that's not vague about that. And by just declaring yourself another vlogging channel, you've now made yourself generic serial number 54. Okay? Like, so I don't know if you are like healthy or gluten-free or like the sugar rush. I have no idea. So that's where I think people go wrong a lot of times, is they don't make it easy for what they do to be understood by the average consumer. If what you do can't be summarized and easily understood, it's going to be very difficult to build traction and build an audience. So, that's the reality. Christy Patridge Art, thank you so much for everything, Roberto. You helped me get where I am today, and I'm very grateful for that. Plus, you helped me discover Gary Vee. Everyone should listen to your advice. It's gold. Oh, well, thank you, Christy. I super appreciate that. That's super flattering. Raka Soka says, if I'm ranking in my video tags but still not getting video views, then what does this mean? It means that just because you're ranking doesn't mean that there's a demand. Supply and demand. Not enough people might be into that. Not enough people might be searching for it. Not enough people might be into that theme or topic at that period in time. It may not have enough attention at the time, and it could go big later. Because it may not be something that's in vogue. Pirate Monkey TV says, sent 50, lost the video text. I'm a children's entertainer. I'm finding it hard to connect with kids. Hard to tell in demographics since young kids don't have accounts. I'd love a review because I feel like I'm lost. Yeah, that one's rough. And I'll see what I can do. I'll see what I can do. I'm trying to also see where we at in timing. Because, all right, we've got 6 minutes before I go into looking at who did the super chats and who's going to get channel reviews. So, let's answer a couple more questions super quick. Help small business, classy celeb hair. There's actually, I forget the name of the channel. Jared Polin interviewed the guy, but there's a guy who had a beauty salon and barbershop combo, and he did a YouTube channel and it helped grow his business. If you're doing classy celeb hair and you're a small business and you also do hair, you should look at that. Hunt that down. Go to Jared Polin's channel and try and find it. Because, you literally could just take everything that guy said about how he grew his business. Koba2802 asks, how would a booktube channel diversify revenue streams. First of all, if you're a booktube channel, I would consider doing a Patreon, but doing a Patreon as a book club and setting up the perks, not just to be donations, but literally being levels of access to things in the book club, live streams, things like that. I would do a newsletter. I would obviously do affiliate marketing, Amazon stuff. That would definitely be a big deal. I would also look at other products related to the book series and things that you're reviewing in terms of merchandise and things to do affiliate there. I would also look at all the possible companies you could do sponsorship with, and I would focus the first 2 years not on the monetization of the audience. I would do something else to make money, but the first 2 years of doing a booktube channel, I'd be focused on building an email list, building a book club community, either through Patreon or through Facebook. And I would also be developing and writing your own books as products and ebooks and things of that nature and getting into Kindle publishing. And I would pair the booktube review stuff with also content that focuses on writers and aspiring writers. And I would probably take that angle because I would pair it with reading and writing. You know, like, so that's the route I would go. And then I would build a brand around that, and I would build a brand around advocacy for literacy. And again, I'd spend the first 2 to 3 years building brand and then doing something else as a side hustle to make real money before worrying about monetizing the audience as much. And I would build up the community and build up the email list. But I would do some passive monetization through affiliate marketing the entire time. And if you grow the audience enough to get sponsors, then I would go with sponsors. Brandon Goes Raw says, is entertainment a reasonable thing to provide? Yes, but it's also wildly saturated. So you have to do it in a way that other people aren't doing it, and you have to find ways to stand out. Usually, how do I stand out? Most people can't stand out because, to be frank, their visuals suck. And that's the first thing we notice. The first thing we do is we judge a book by its cover, right? We all do that. Straight up and down. There's no getting around it, okay? We judge a book by its cover. A lot of people say that their stuff doesn't get noticed. It's not getting views, but it's not getting views and clicks and noticed because the thumbnail, the packaging isn't good. And we judge everything in YouTube. Everything that you click on something because of the title and the thumbnail. That's why I tell you about TubeBuddy and Morning Fame and vidIQ to get the titling right. And I talk to you about marketing and storytelling and positioning and the interest and attention span of an audience, because getting the title right is a promise, but the thumbnail is the package. So it's the promise and the package, and you need both. And so that's why when I decided to make a product, I made the YouTube Starter Kit. So over on awesomecreatoracademy.com, link in the description, I started the YouTube Starter Kit. And what this is a bunch of templates that you can use Photoshop, or you can go to photop.com, which is like a free version of Photoshop with ads, because, you know, everyone needs to monetize with ads. And you can basically take these thumbnails that I made. You can either use free apps like GIMP or Photop, or you can use Photoshop, and you can make pretty much any major YouTube thumbnail that you could think of, YouTube channel artwork, YouTube end cards, lower thirds that you can animate, all that stuff, and it's in the YouTube Starter Kit. I did over 100 templates, and I sell it for $99, but if it's not January 31st and you're watching this, then it's 50% off with the link in the description below. I also have the link pinned on Twitter, but right now, that's a steal. Even at $99, if I were to sell these things individually, I'd rack up like $1,500. I'd rack up over $1,000 selling these individually in a stock photo site, which more of you should do. But I made this because I know that people are getting visuals wrong. I know that that's a big barrier to them getting clicks. Clicks get views. Views get subscribers. So that's why I made this thing. And so that's why I made that my product instead of making another YouTube course, right? Because again, packaging and then the title for a promise. It's a promise and then it's the packaging, okay? So if you get that right, your videos stand a chance. If you don't get that right, then it's very hard to get a click. When I started, it's because like I was good at Photoshop, and so like that helped me, and PewDiePie was good at Photoshop when he started, so it really helped him as well. So those things all matter. And I would say that it's one of those things when you're first getting started, that's probably the biggest challenge. Oh, that's the timer for YouTubers. So now that our timer's gone up, I'm going to answer like maybe 2 or 3 more questions, and then I'm going to get into these micro reviews. Someone's asking, where do I get this? Okay, so let me just do this real quick. The YouTube Starter Kit is over at awesomecreatoracademy.com. Link is in the description. Right now, if it's not January 31st, after January 31st, it goes off sale, but you can get 50% off the usual $99 price. So there's a link down there for you guys. And again, it's over 100 templates. And then if you don't have Photoshop, there's a 30-day free trial of Photoshop. Like, so that's like not a thing. It's a 30-day free trial of Photoshop, right? But then you can go to Photopea, and this can edit any PSD file, and it's pretty much a free version of Photoshop, and it's browser-based. They're not sponsoring. I'm just telling you about a free tool. I need to make a video about this and do a tutorial, but it's basically a Photoshop clone that can open Photoshop files. So, I mean, you know, that's something that you should be taking a look at. Where do I have... So, like, if I were to go into... If my computer doesn't want to, like, freeze on me because I'm doing too many things at once. So, like, yeah, I can open up, like, Photoshop files right here in Photopea, and it's a browser-based thing. So that's completely free. The YouTube Starter Kit is usually $99 at awesomecreatoracademy.com. And, oh, excuse me, 50% off until January 31st. If it's after the 31st, I'm never making it 50% off again. So that's kind of the deal. But yeah, there's like over 100 templates in there. In fact, I need to update the page to reflect that fact. So yeah, that's where you would get that. If you're interested in that, that's where it is. Links in the description. But let's get into some of these super chats. Let's get into some of these reviews. Because I did an hour of Q&A, and then, you know, that's the deal. Tony Higginson says, as a landscape photographer, my demographic is 45 to 65-year-old men. Should this affect how I design my thumbnails? I would look at brands and look at the billboards and print ads for brands that attract those demographics, and then I would look at that, and I would probably start to base it off of that. With those level of men, I would say that photography-based thumbnails, but also that use high contrast effects, could actually really reach them. Think about sports. Like, you know, sports and the perspective of sports marketing reaches an older demographic of men. So if that's your demographic, I would look at what sports-based advertising is doing and then adapt that as best as possible to what I'm doing, and that's how I would pivot there. Mandy, a Mixed Media Queen, says, I do everything from my phone. I don't have Wi-Fi, so I can't use my laptop. Could you show how to do things from a smartphone? I actually did a video about that already, specifically on the iPhone, so you should definitely check that out. And also my friend Justin can't talk right now. Justin Brown, Primal Video, he does a lot of videos specifically around the smartphone stuff, so you really should look at that. Let's see. Tanker says, gotta have the eye candy like a comic book cover or movie poster. Yep. Absolutely. Leslie Bradley asks, what would you recommend for creating a website without coding? Squarespace, Adobe Muse, WordPress, cheers. Without coding, WordPress and Wix. Sorry, WordPress, you might need to do some coding. So that's I would say Wix.com and Squarespace.com, and maybe one of the site builders in like Bluehost or something like that would probably be good if you don't want to be a coder. I think that matters. Action for Aging says, Roberto, what is the sweet spot for video length? Does it depend on the type of content, or is there a general magic number? It depends on the type of content. If you're looking for more ad revenue, obviously you go over 10 minutes because you can do a pre-roll, mid-roll, post-roll, so you could do that. According to statistical data, 7 to 16 minutes could be considered a sweet spot, but that's counting across 1,000 random channels. It's not. It's a case study that's based on 1,000 random channels. It's not accounting for audience demographic, genre type, or video style, because tutorials are different, DIYs are different, action stuff is different, sports is different. So female versus male audiences are different in terms of how they respond to certain things, and timing, availability. If your audience is busy moms, short form content's going to perform better than long form content because they don't have as much time available to dispose on content. But the reason that like 12-minute vlogs from like Logan and Jake Paul work very well for them, both in watch time and algorithmically, is because they have an audience of 14-year-olds that goes home, and from the time they get off the bus to the time they go to bed are sitting here on their phone watching Jake and Logan. So that's why that works for them. So you have to, it's demographics, guys. Like, it really, really matters. Language also matters. Geography matters. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Beautiful Nest TV says, what's the best way to connect with your audience to get them to comment, like, and share? Ask for it early enough on, but justify the ask in some meaningful way. But literally, if you can ask for something in the first 2 minutes of a video, you're much more likely to get it. If you can ask for something in the first 2 minutes of a video, you're much more likely to get it. If you reinforce that message at the end of a video, you're likely to remind people and to get those last minutes. So, like, that all matters. All of that matters. All right, so let's see what happened with our super chats so that I can pick the channels that are getting channel reviews, because we did an hour of Q&A, and we had some really high number super chats here. So let's see. For the Love of Tech, $20 super chat. Hey, Roberto, looking for a channel review. I know I can do better. I just don't know how. Hi, Roberto, looking for a channel review. So that's another one. Tiger says, started its channel in November 2017. I'm on 325 subs. Would love a review. Watch your videos every day. Watchtower, glad to see you going strong, man. Okay, so what I'm going to try and do here is we have a bunch of reviews here that are in a high tier price range. So first of all, as of right now, all super chats for reviews are closed. So we're closed. Super chats for reviews are closed. I might take some smaller ones for questions, or if you've ever just gotten any value out of the content or the videos I do, and if you just want to say thank you, and you want to do like a $2 super chat, I'm really appreciative of it. And there are things that I put that stuff aside toward. So, you know, I do appreciate it, and I will say thank you and acknowledge it. But the channel review super chats are closed, and we have a lot of them in the over $20 category here. So I definitely am going to do those, and obviously I'm going to do the $50 ones. So let's just start down the line here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to queue these up. I'm going to queue these up, and I'm going to try to keep them brief and with the most actionable thing I can think of. But I'm also going to make a secret bet with myself that, like, most of these are going to need to improve their thumbnails and their visual branding and their channel artwork. Like, I literally can almost guarantee that half of these will still have that particular problem. Like, that will be real. So let's see. But I also need to make sure that everybody's autoplay trailers are off, because I don't want to like bombard your headphones with that. You know, because that's that's a thing that happens here. So I'll need to mute all of those. I wonder if there's like an option to make sure that that doesn't happen, because that just seems really annoying. I don't know if you guys find that to be annoying. I just know I do. Like, so let's see there. Yeah, Zach Tech reviews. Like there's an interesting niche if you actually know about it. Um, if you actually know about it and can actually do it justice, crypto channels, like channels about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, are exploding right now. But you don't want to, like, like talk out the side of your mouth about that stuff if you have no idea. So, like, but that's just a thing to understand. Or if you want to document your beginnings as a cryptocurrency trader and not claim to be an expert, but say, hey, like, I made, like, let's watch my journey. I made this much. I lost this much. If you like, that could be a thing. Um, so I could see that doing well. And if someone was doing like full transparency on what they're like making with cryptocurrency, like I could see a channel like that popping off because of morbid curiosity and because that would, like, it's trendy right now. So that's something that I could see working for people. But I don't think that people should get into YouTube to do trendy things to just have an audience or do whatever. Like, I personally think that it should be about what you want to do, and what you're good at. And that's the way that I go. Like, if I wasn't into the creative entrepreneurship space and into the technical skills space, and like an educator, I probably would be like a lot of my friends, like Prince and Mitchell and Daniel, and I'd probably be doing like Star Wars. I'd probably be like a Star Wars YouTuber. I'd be like Andre Meadows, Black Nerd Comedy, something like that. I'd probably be a pop culture, like, or television show reviewer, or like one of my favorite channels, Emergency Awesome, or Comic Book Girl 19, or Rob from Comics Explained, or Chibi Reviews, who reviews anime. That's the kind of thing that casually, if I was not so entrepreneurial and like that's my focus and my creativity and my love for starving artist, that's probably the direction I would go. um Nicholas Reviews says, I don't even trust that Bitcoin crap. A lot of people don't, but I'll tell you this, um I'm good with it because every time I've invested in cryptocurrency, I've made 5 times my money, but I'm playing it very smart and I'm holding. I bought in, when did I buy Ethereum at? I bought Ethereum at like 400 and something, and it's at 1100 right now, so I'm happy. I bought Litecoin at like 60, and then again at 80, and it's at 180 right now. I'm happy. So I'm just saying it's performing a lot better than my traditional portfolio. My traditional portfolio only, what did it make? Like, it didn't do nearly as well. Not even close. It's not even a fight. It's literally not even a fight. So like, I like crypto. Like, but I also think it's the future because I had an idea about this years ago. I had an idea about doing a currency system that was based on trading in thermal energy, or expended kinetic energy that's stored like an appliance, like an an Apple Watch. Like, I had an idea that you build an appliance like this because I saw the Matrix, and the robots in the Matrix were using and harnessing human electricity for power and using humans as batteries. I had an idea that, wait, what if we did that ourselves and we took all of our excess energy, but we sold it based on the kilowatt per hour and traded it out as currency, or whenever we rode a bike or something, we used that energy and then put it into a battery that charges all of our devices, and then we could generate our own power and be power energy efficient and independent, and it's clean because it's our energy, and we could offset our electric bills that way. Like, I had an idea for a meritocracy-based system where currency is based on physical work, like literally translates to physical work in the form of energy, in either thermals or bioelectricity. Like, it was a whole thing, like, because I'm a nerd, right? So when cryptocurrency came, I was fascinated by that because I thought, oh, this could be a currency based in meritocracy, but it would be by the computers performing work rather than humans performing work. So like, that was my whole thing. But anyway, that was like my nerdy thing. Like, let's get into some of these channel reviews real quick. So we've got, let me see if I can make this any bigger. We got For the Love of Tech. Okay. So For the Love of Tech. First of all, well, let's look at what your intro looks like. Nice intro for editing. That's not bad. But your thumbnails are really not, like, they're not the worst thumbnails. Some of them are better than others. And I know I always harp on thumbnails, but real talk, thumbnails get click. Now, I like this. I like these comic book style thumbnails because that's unique. And look at this. It's working for you. When you do these comic book style thumbnails, you're winning, right? You got like, you're a small YouTuber, you got 2,000 subscribers, and you got 10K views 2 weeks ago, just 2 weeks ago, by saying don't buy the Movado Android Wear smartwatch. Like, I think these things, like, and then look, does liquid screen protector work? Like, I think you need to do these kind of videos and tell people things that they don't know, and like giveaways. Like, look, you got less viewers on a giveaway for a OnePlus 5T than you did on warning people on what not to buy. Like, really think about that. You only got 400 on the don't buy without watching my reviews. I would say that you should have, instead of saying without watching my reviews, and this could have been maybe a shorter video, maybe it should have been like, don't buy the OnePlus 5T yet, 5 things to know. 5 things to know before you buy the OnePlus 5T. So like, that's probably what you should have done. But if we sort by, and this is what you guys don't do, if you sort by what your most popular videos are, you start to understand what you could be doing or what you should be doing. So look at this. 2 months ago, you got 62K views. Most people would not believe that a channel with 2,000 subscribers could do that. And the thing is, you got all these views, but they didn't translate to subscribers. Did you ask for the subscribe in that video? That's a curious thing to think. And it seems that the videos where you have a thumbnail that have a product or your face or both perform the best. And again, when you do this cartoon art style, your videos perform a lot better than when you don't. So for being around 2 months and to have accumulated this many views and this many subscribers, you've already probably beat what YouTube wants for monetization. So you did that, but look at how you did it. Okay? And look at, like, you did unboxings, and you have these unique things. Now, some of these things, like, thumbnail-wise could be better, but I like that your thumbnails are unique with the hand-drawn cartoon style. Like, that's different, and that's something we don't see in the tech space. And that's going to attract people because it's different. So, you know, I would do more of that. And then, let me see, like, 16 minutes, and you got all of this, and your video quality doesn't seem to be bad. Obviously, you could do some color grading in there. You could do some stuff, like, probably a little bit better. Let's see how you got, like, very little in terms of thumbs up engagement and very little in terms of comments. Like, that feels weird, but it's not uncommon for small channels, even when you get massive views, for people to not engage like that. Let's see what's going on the smartwatch video, just super quick. Much more engagement here. Yeah, see? Like, much more engagement. And a lot of people will sit there and they'll think that, like, there's something fishy about that. But, like, I've seen big channels not get a lot of engagement comparatively to views, to comments. Like, getting people to comment on YouTube videos, unless you piss them off, is, like, really challenging. You either have to amp people up or really tick them off to get comments sometimes. So, you know, that's a real thing. So I would say that your big takeaway from this should be that do what's working for your channel, and it's clear and obvious when you sort by what's performing the best, what you could do. Also, this isn't bad in terms of channel artwork, and it does kind of like tell you that, oh, this is a tech channel, but it's not the most attractive channel artwork. And then your visual, like, avatar here, why not just have it be the face with the glasses? Why does it need to be all of this? Like, that, like, we can't even read any of that. So, and stop doing giveaways. Like, dead serious. Stop doing giveaways. They don't work. Like, you get empty subs, you get empty views, and they didn't even get as many views as your other stuff. Don't do giveaways. Like, yeah, I'm putting a moratorium on giveaways. Unless you have 100,000 subscribers, you're no longer allowed to do giveaways. Why 100,000 subscribers? Well, at that point, you might have made enough money, theoretically, to be able to justify doing giveaways. And at that point, you can do giveaways to reward someone in your community. But also, moratorium, the moratorium, no giveaways. But when you do giveaways, your first 5 giveaways have to be merch or something that would only be meaningful to someone in your audience, not something generic like a smartphone that everybody wants or an Xbox that everyone wants, something that only your actual viewers, your actual homies would give a crap about, is the only thing you're allowed to give away for your first 5 giveaways. And none of you are, all right, I'll be more generous. You can do giveaways if you're above 10,000 subscribers, but your first 5 giveaways can only be things that matter specifically to your audience, and that's it. You're not allowed to give away anything that a generic random person would care about. That's the law. That's the law. I am the law. So, like, yeah. So, all right. So, got Timo. Like, first of all, I do like the channel artwork. That's cool. But I don't understand initially that this is a gaming channel just by you doing that. So, I do want you to put something down here or over here somewhere that says gaming. Maybe something over here that's like, you know, a subscribe bell or something, like a notifications bell or something like that. And I'd like you to let me know, are you doing this weekly, twice a week, 3 times a week? I'd like that. But other than that, good on you for that. But then why, oh why, if the channel artwork is that good, why are the thumbnails so generic? That bothers me. You have these great video games. I know about Assassin's Creed. I know about Shadow of War. There are so many great scenes in these games that would make baller thumbnails. Let's do that. Let's not make generic templated thumbnails when we have great screenshots to work with. And let's put in a little bit more effort there. So let's do that instead, because I think it could matter. Obviously, I understand that you're trying to do some things for consistency, and I totally get it, but I think that you could do much better if you do a little bit of that, but also take advantage of what the game has to offer. But also, there's nothing that tells me what's different about your gaming channel, because like gaming channels are a dime a dozen. Why would we watch your channel versus watching PewDiePie, Markiplier, or Jacksepticeye? What are you offering that's different? That's not made clear immediately. So you have to figure that out, because otherwise they're a dime a dozen. Bijou Mike and I did a complete teardown for like 18 minutes on what gaming channels need to do, and you gotta find something specifically to do, because gaming channels are a dime a dozen, like, you know, so that's the difference. Should we try doing subscriber pods? Nope, I'm against subscriber pods. I'm 100% against subscriber pods. Do masterminds instead. Do masterminds instead. Do like a legit mastermind and stop trying to game subscriber numbers and actually try to get each other to be better, because I'd rather you guys build small mastermind groups where you guys go through each other's channels and you lay into each other with love about why thumbnails aren't great, why this isn't great, you're not replying to enough of the comments, you're not da-da-da-da-da. I want you guys to do real constructive criticism. And for anyone asking what a mastermind is, please use Google search, please, please, please. But real talk, you guys should be getting together and strategically looking at your channels, because 3 to 5 homies helping you strategically get better and telling you, bro, your lighting sucks. Bro, watch Mike Russell's tutorials to get your audio right. Bro, go buy a better microphone for when you interview people. Like, that would help you. A sub is an empty number if no one's watching, but somebody actually caring about what you have going on under the hood of your channel and trying to make you better would actually matter. And so I would rather you guys get 3 to 5 people to care about your channel enough to tell you, like, when it could be better for them as a viewer and what you could do better for them, than a subscriber to support you or to get you over 1K, because it doesn't matter. So, there's that. So, yeah, Gratimo, like, you need to get us to figure out what specifically your channel has to offer as a gaming channel, and get very specific and make that messaging very clear. And if this is your standard for channel artwork, your thumbnails should not be falling short, because that's why the clicks don't come in. Now, that all being said, numbers-wise, you're doing pretty good numbers-wise for only having 59 subscribers. The views are there. So, you know, you're obviously doing something right, but it can be better. And like I said, look at the video I did with Bijou Mike about gaming channels, and it will probably help you. So there's that. All right, Call of Duty guides, tips, and tutorials. So this is Tiger. All right, at least this tells me exactly what the channel is about. I have no idea how many subscribers you have, so I have no, because you're not making that public, so I have no way to gauge what your goal is or how far you are in achieving that. If you have anything more than, if you have more than 50 subscribers and you're getting these kinds of views, you should make that number public. You shouldn't be embarrassed to be a small YouTuber. Not if you're getting these kind of views. If you're getting these kind of, channel artwork was pretty good too. But if you're getting, thumbnails are pretty nice. But I don't think that they work for what this is, but I could be wrong because, again, I don't know what the subscriber count number is, so I don't have a way to gauge that just yet. But these are different compared to other ones in the gaming niche, and it seems to be working. So if you have 50, 100, 500 subscribers, and this is the views that you're getting, you're doing fine, Tiger. So I don't know. Like, that's a hard call to make. So you're doing fine on thumbnails, thank God. That's better. This is probably a good example of gaming thumbnails. And again, you've only been doing this for 2 months. You're doing this for 2 months, and you're getting views. You are getting views. So what do you need my help with again? Because, like, the only way these numbers are bad is if you have, like, 5,000 subscribers, which you would not be hiding the subscriber count if that were the case. So stop being embarrassed about being a small YouTuber. You're getting the numbers. Your stuff is seemingly working. You have a style that works for you. These are really good thumbnails for what it is, and it's different. I don't see gaming thumbnails go this direction, and so I dig what you're doing here, and that, to me, it makes sense. And then you're doing it tutorials. So you've got search in your favor, and you've got recommended in your favor, and you've got good thumbnails. The title system that you're using isn't bad at all, in my opinion. And the videos are short enough, so you're probably getting some watch time. You're getting likes, so you're getting engagement on these. That's a pretty good like ratio. And you got 24 comments on this video. So, like, yeah, you're doing fine, in my opinion, as far as that. Let's see how you're doing on SEO. But also, you're not doing some best practices. You're killing it on SEO. This is SEO done right, ladies and gentlemen. This is what all the YouTube gamers suck at. Like, he's good. Like Tiger is doing good. Like, sheesh. Like, but no info cards to link over to similar videos. You didn't pin a comment. I would pin a comment that probably has a link to a playlist that makes sense or another video that makes sense for this person. You've got closed captions. You're not sharing this in Facebook. You should either have a Facebook community for other Call of Duty gamers, or you should be participating in one, or whatever, and you should do that. And info cards. Do not skimp on that. So do all the best practices. Decent SEO score according to vidIQ and TubeBuddy. Yeah, so you're doing good, Tiger. Again, just clean up those little things that I talked about. I think you're fine. Pirate Monkey TV. Also, what's going on in chat? Dave in MSP. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Appreciate you. Yeah, no, subscriber pods are people trying to subscribe to each other. It's kind of like a sub for sub kind of thing, and like people trying to game that. Like, there's a difference between that versus, I think, a small mastermind would be 3 to 5 people that, again, are like just, again, talking to each other and sharing advice, sharing information, comparing data, also grading each other's like channels on a regular basis to have so like I think a 3 to 5 person mastermind is practical. Ashwin Pan, hey Roberto, started a YouTube channel 6 months ago with a small niche, followed all your rules you told in videos, and now I'm at 3,200 subscribers and growing steadily. Thank you so much. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Barbecue Fizz is, it's not cold-hearted, it's the truth. Like, yeah, like, I mean, again, some people think I'm harsh or I'm cold sometimes, but it's like, I'm like trying to be insanely practical, and I'm trying to give you actionable advice. Like, and sometimes it's the thing you really need to hear, because again, coddling you doesn't help sometimes. Like, and I also, again, I have a little bit of that perspective of like, I was a track and cross country runner. Like, coach didn't abuse me, but he didn't coddle me either. So like, when I'm teaching and I'm instructing, I try to be patient and I try to be empathetic, but there's a part of me that also is like, oh, get on it, or it's just the way I am. It's like a take it or leave it thing. It's just like, that's just how I am. It's why it's why I also tell you to look at my friends like Sonny Lenarduzzi or Nick Nimmin or Brian G. Johnson or Tim Schmoyer or Daryl Eves or Gideon Shalwick or Justin Brown or Owen Video or any of those people, because like, your learning style may not work with me. Your learning style may not be what I can, like, I may not fit for you. I may not be what's comfortable for everybody. And I'm totally empathetic to that. I don't have an ego about it. Not you can't please everybody, or you'll please nobody if you try. And I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to help in the way that I know how. I can't pivot and shift to meet everybody's needs. It won't work. It'd be inauthentic or fake. So like, that's the thing. But I also try not to be a jerk about it. I just try to like tell people like, hey, this is working or this isn't, and this is what it is, because I know that people are defensive about it, because I'm an artist, so I understand it. And I've been that way too. But I also know that what helped me the most was people being real with me. Occasionally people being tough on me. So, it's a thing. So, magic jokes and fun with Maynard and Captain Jack. Hey, Captain Jack. So that's, let me figure this out, because it's a little harder to figure this channel out. 6 months, 278, that's not bad at all, and it's a harder thing. Pirates of the Caribbean, Monkey News, and the titles. All right, so the monkey like news thing, you just go with whatever the actual content is. Don't feel compelled to constantly say monkey news, because it's repetitive and I don't know that that works. You're getting views, considering the subscriber count, you're getting views. The thumbnails, I don't like the clutter, but it seems to be working for your audience. I just am not a fan of anything that feels that cluttered, and it's hard for me to read, especially without my glasses. And I also feel like sometimes this would be hard to read in the mobile app especially, but some of it's good and some of it's not. Again, in my opinion as a designer. Let's see what production values have going on. Let me try and get a better sense of this channel, because this one's harder to review. I can tell you the SEO is bad. One word titles and like, that's bad. Not doing a lot of the best practices. No pinned comment, no hearted comment, no likes in Facebook, probably not shared in Facebook, and not using YouTube info cards. So a bunch of best practices not happening. One word tags, probably very few of these are ranking. So yeah, and I doubt that there's a lot of high search volume for any of this. So, yep, search volume, very low. Dollar Trick. Search volume. Come on, TubeBuddy. Search volume's high. Competition's high, but you're ranked number 20 for it, so I don't know if that does anything. Magic tricks you're not even ranking for. It's too generic. It's too generic. Let's look at production values. Editing and production values seem to be very good. Seems very much like a I don't know if anybody remembers like some of the old Nickelodeon shows like Wienerville. This reminds me of something that could have been like a segment or a bit in that. So as far as a magic trick, and it's something someone could practice, or something like Mr. Wizard. So my answer to you is partly to study Nickelodeon shows, especially the old Nickelodeon shows from the 90s, and to start to really think about what was successful about that format. Definitely do better and learn better as far as SEO and tagging, and do all of the best practices. You're not using pinned and hearted comments. You're not doing info cards. Even if you have 0 comments, write your own comment and pin it and make it a link to another video or a playlist video. And again, the titling, some of the stuff is a little too generic. You've got good editing chops, you got good production chops, but it takes more than that. And I think you have to figure out a cohesive strategy. Look at a lot of other kids' channels and see what they did that was successful. But you're just starting out. Like, it's 6 months and you've got a couple hundred subscribers and you're getting views. So it's obviously something is right. All right, so Kimberly Mitchell, plus size fashion, national hair. I actually like this channel artwork. My only beef with this channel artwork is the white background, because it's white on white with YouTube, and so that gets lost. It gets cluttered in a way. Even though it's trying to be clean, it has the opposite effect. So that bothers me a little bit. Thumbnails aren't bad. They're not the worst. They could, like, sometimes there's too much text in these thumbnails, so that bugs me a little bit. Some of these videos, view-wise, are hit or miss, but I feel like they're the kind of thing that'll get more views over a 30-day period than a week-long period because of what they are. You've got some videos that clearly did knock it out of the park and got thousands upon thousands of views. So again, this is a channel with less than 1,000 subscribers, but let's see what the most popular videos are. Most popular videos, 37,000, 16,000. But again, some of these are older, so that's 9 years ago. But look at this. 7 months ago, 7K. 10 minutes ago, 5K. So clearly, you know what videos have historically performed. This 6 months ago, 400. 10 months ago, 1,400. So if you know there's things that you are doing that are landing and that work, I would do more of those. And I would say that if you're going to do a lot of content, because it looks like you're trying, if I look by date, if I go by newest, it looks like you're trying to do a couple videos a week. All right, for the next 90 days, do 3 videos a week and always put plus size in the title, and do that for the next 90 days. For 3 months, do 3 videos a week, right? So that means that you should be doing anywhere from 12 to 15 videos a month for the next 3 months. Do that. Put plus size somewhere in the title of almost every single one of those videos, somehow, and see what happens. I'm not even kidding. Because I think that it might be possible for you to be more dominant in the niche and escalate the channel that way, and I would be surprised if you didn't get more subscribers that way. Because then you have an audience that's self-identifying, and then you become an avatar for the audience for that thing. So I think that would matter. Now, in terms of framing, your video production values aren't terrible, but in terms of framing, you have way too much headroom up there, and you don't need it. So that's bothering me a little bit in terms of that. I don't know what's going on with your autofocus, but you know, if you have a cheap camera or a phone, then that's just is what it is. It's against a white background. Some of this might be a little bit long. If you can find a way to cut it down for what it is, because you don't have a lot of fancy editing, which it doesn't always need. But also see what your audience is responding to. If people are digging it, but also like ask for comments, do a question of the day. Like, there are things you can do to get people engaged, but you're doing something right, because again, you have managed to get 400 people plus to subscribe, and you did get videos even recently that do have a decent amount of views on them, like as far back as like a month ago, 2 months ago. So clearly people in your audience, they like haul videos. They like collection videos. They like anything with plus size in it. So, you know, look at what is performed with your audience. A lot of people, they'll do the videos and they say they want to grow, but they're focusing on what they're having the most fun with, which is fine. That's what I do. But when you say you want to grow, you have to do what your audience is responding to. I, in a lot of ways, am not trying to grow as much anymore. I'm trying to do what I think is best for people in my audience and my community, more than I'm trying to grow the channel. And that's why you'll see a lot of my videos focusing a lot more lately on freelancing, how to make money, software skills, because I need people to either make money on their own or get jobs. Like, because like people are telling me they're hurting for money. YouTube ain't the answer. If you're hurting for money, YouTube ain't the answer. Especially not now. And that's real. So sketch comedy, how-tos, how funny, every Thursday. So this does a couple of things right. One, I like the colors, and I like the pun, because I get it, because Abby Howe, right? So I get it. And sketch comedy. All right. Now, you've got an audience of a couple hundred. You're getting hundreds of views per video, so it's working. Comedy and personality-driven channels can still work, but you have to make sure that that value proposition up front makes sense. What you're doing that's smart is you did Gilmore Girls in real life. Parody videos, very good, and you probably did it at a time where that had attention because of the Netflix show coming back and things like that. Things where you do how-to, but then you make them comedy. I like that. Because then that's search engine friendly at the same time. So you're tapping into search and you're tapping into trends. Actually, I'm not sure why you wanted a channel review, Abby, because like you're getting views, you have subscribers, you're being smart about your channel, and it's intentional. It's doing much better than it did 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I would say consistency is a thing. You're doing it every Thursday. If you could ever find a way to do 2 videos a week, that'd probably be good, but you're probably just upping your production values. You've certainly upped your thumbnail game. That's clear by looking at the history of your channel. Yep, production values. That's why you're only doing it every Thursday, is because you're doing a really highly polished video. Totally get it. If you can figure out how to do something this polished twice a week, you're golden. Or if you can find a simple but effective video format that lets you do good camera lighting, but it doesn't have to be anything that's set up or fancy as a skit, because it's sketch comedy, but you could do comedy. Look at what Liza Koshy's doing. What Liza Koshy's doing a lot of times doesn't require a big elaborate setup, and that's why she could do it more often. I'm not saying copy Liza Koshy. I'm saying that format, and that format's not original to Liza, and it's not even original to Lily Singh, but the format of doing like standing in front of your background and doing like stand-up comedy bits, or doing a routine and doing it for like 3 minutes, like and that's real, and that could help you put out more content more often. And if you put out more content more often, you'll obviously grow faster. So that'd be my advice. You're solid on production values. Your thumbnail game is strong. I love how you incorporate it into the color schemes of your brand. That makes total sense. And you're getting the views. You know, maybe ask for the subscribe earlier in the video if you want to grow subscribers more quickly. Let's see if all the best practices are checked off in this. SEO score is really good for something like this. Best practices. Yep, you're doing all the best practices, and you've got some search ranking. You're doing mostly the search okay, but you could probably try and make it a little bit better. TubeBuddy is a great tool for that. So yeah, like Abby, I'm not sure why you felt you needed my help. I think you're doing amazing. And I might like check this out again when I have more time. Yeah, no, I think this is a solid channel. I think this is a good example of how to do a channel like this. Especially, I think you're starting strong in terms of your production values versus clearly like how the videos used to be. So I think this is an example of doing quality that will eventually catch up with you. Obviously, you're not skyrocketing, and I know that there are a lot of like comedy people that skyrocket or they seem to blow up out of nowhere, but like don't worry about it. And what's going to help you is shares. Like getting more shares in Facebook and Twitter is going to help. So we got Zach Tech Reviews. We got him from Canada. So Zach, obviously I'm digging the channel artwork. I'm digging the profile pic. Let's look at how thumbnails are going. Thumbnails aren't bad. We've been here before. Thumbnails aren't bad. Let's look at like whether you're implementing strategy. So you've got 500 subscribers. I'd say your view to subscriber ratio is ridiculously strong considering that. The vlog didn't work out when you're talking about the YouTube partner program. That's not too surprising. Like, it looks like the vlogs are hurting you. It looks like when you do reviews, everything is fine, but it looks like when you do vlogs, it hurts the channel. That's what I'm seeing here. And you might aspire to do the vlogs, but when you're getting started, focus on what works and then introduce new elements to your audience later. If your goal is to grow, if you just want to do YouTube and have fun with it, you can do whatever you want and never worry about it. If your goal is to grow, sometimes up front, and I'll tell you the truth, up front, if your goal is to grow, you have to do what's working on your channel and what's getting the most views, and do that exclusively until you're satisfied with the growth and until you feel like the audience will like side with you no matter what. But then, but when you're getting started, if you keep doing things because, oh, I want to do this thing, or oh, I think this would be cool, versus what you see the data is telling you is working, you see the data is telling you that this gets 15K views, despite the fact you have 500 subscribers, 15,000 views. Everyone tells me how impossible it is for small YouTubers. Wrong. Clearly, if someone with 500 and had much less 5 months ago, 500 subscribers can get 30,000 views, 15,000 views, 11,000 views, 10,000 views, 9,000 views, it clearly isn't impossible for small YouTubers. So I'm sorry, I'm tired of hearing that one, because it clearly isn't true. We've seen it time and time again. So it's possible to get views without subscribers. Next, like, you know, just real talk. So what I would say is clearly there's certain content that performs the best on your channel, and what is underperforming on your channel is the tech vlogs. So until you are satisfied with the subscriber count, maybe you hold back on the tech vlogs because it's not resonating with the audience just yet. Maybe you reserve the tech vlogs for when you're at 10,000 subscribers and you feel like solid, you know? Or maybe if your goal is to get monetized, you do it when you have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. Maybe that's when you do the tech vlogs. Like, whenever you feel satisfied with the growth goals, then you can introduce the tech vlogs, because otherwise, from a content strategy standpoint, it's hurting you. It's undermining the channel because you have these clear winners for your channel, and then you have things that clearly are not winners for your channel. So I would focus on, if your goal is growth, like I said, I don't focus on the things that I know are winning for the channel because I have other goals, and my goals are goals that I have for my audience themselves. Winning, like, pick things that win for the channel if your goal is to grow. If you see a video doing thousands of views and you have hundreds of subscribers, you have to do more videos like that if you want growth, because it's supply and demand. It's less about what you want at that point and about what your audience wants if your goal is growth. If your goal is growth. Which is why I tell people not to focus on growth, personally. If they want to enjoy the YouTube experience more, then you have to sacrifice growth to do the content that you want. But if you want to grow, then you're sacrificing doing the content that you want in favor of your objective. And that's just the ruthless business transactional part of YouTube that exists. It is the way that it is. And it's not going to change, so you have to, like, adapt to that. You know, that's what I would say about it. And again, it sounds cold, it sounds ruthless, it sounds harsh, but it is the truth by the numbers, because we're seeing it, right? Like, the data doesn't lie in this case. So, I mean, that's rough, because especially if it's the content you like the most is the content that performs the worst, I can understand, like, why that, like, is harsh. But if you want to do the content you want to do, you might have to not worry about growing as much. The other thing I would say is that your description, Zach, you need more in the description. Like, you need more in the description up front, because YouTube uses the first 3 lines to do that, to tie things to SEO and to recommend it. So you need to flesh out those descriptions a little bit more. And I know that a lot of big YouTubers and a lot of big tech YouTubers don't do that, but they have like 7 other variables going on in their favor that means that they may not have to worry about it. Small YouTubers should take every advantage they could get, and that means stop looking at what big YouTubers are doing, because they don't have to worry about growing anymore, obviously. So don't emulate the big YouTubers on that perspective. In terms of the tactical side, because like you can look at them for production values, for gear, you can look at them for marketing and branding, you can look at them for engagement, but on the technical level, on the granular level, on the tactical level, ignore big YouTubers, because they don't have to worry about the same crap that you do anymore, right? That's why you need to look at the strategic higher level of brand awareness, audience engagement, production values, technical things in terms of editing technique, things of that nature. But when it comes to titles, descriptions, and tags, ignore the big YouTubers because they don't have to play that game. They don't have to play that game. They've already won. All right, so Nathaniel Morden. So what I don't know is what your channel is about. I just know that it's about Nathaniel Morden. So like that kind of hurts this. Like you should have something that explains what you're about. My channel doesn't say, oh, Roberto Blake, because who gives a crap? Like it says what I'm about. There's that part of it. And then let me see if I can understand the channel by looking at enough of the content. Vertical jump training with resistance bands. Chasing greatness. I have no idea what chasing greatness is. So lead with the thing that, do the opposite of what you're doing for these episodes. If you're going to do episodes, the name of the series in the episode is at the end. The title of the episode or what the value proposition is up front. And then the episode title, show title is at the end because we don't care about that and the search engines don't care about that. Channel feels a little all over the place. I'm assuming that your channel is about personal development. But like it's hard. It's hard to get a grasp of what the channel is about. You know, but that's the thing. Seeing some of the comments here. Like, so Matthews, yeah, I totally get it. It's like, but there's a supply and demand factor. You can make the videos that you want, but you have to understand up front that you'll sacrifice the speed of growth, which I'm fine with. But some of you are saying, I'm speaking to what your anxiety is. Some of you are saying, I don't feel I'm growing fast enough, or I don't feel like I'm growing at all. And if you're doing the content you want, then accept the growth that you get. But if your thing is, I want to grow faster because I have these other objectives, then you have to do what it takes in response to your audience. Not in response to the mainstream YouTube culture, but your specific audience and your demographic. Because like Paula is asking, what if the type of content that grows the fastest is not what you want to build your brand around? The pictures that get the highest engagement on Instagram for me are the half-naked pictures of me. Paula, I totally sympathize with that. I get it. Make a firm decision about what your brand is going to be going forward. In Instagram, in YouTube, all around, make a decision. If you are not into that and that's not what you want to be about and what you want to be known for, then you cut that off entirely. But what you have to accept is that the speed that gives you is gone, and live at a pace of doing the thing that you want and that being sustainable, and accept that. Because I actually know what I would have to do to go from almost 300K right now to 1 million subscribers in 18-month period, and I refuse to do it. I know exactly what I would need to do. I have enough friends who could tell me, and we've looked at the data, and we know, and I looked at the numbers, and I said, that's not my brand. That's not my message. That's not what I'm about. That's not what I'm interested in doing. That's not what my audience needs from me. I'll take 3 years to accomplish the same thing on my own terms, and I will sacrifice speed for legacy because I feel, or I'll do the thing that I want and I'll optimize the hell out of it and still get there in 18 or 24 months or whatever. Like, I'm confident that I can get what I want, and it takes as long as it takes. I don't care how long it takes. I'd rather get there the way I want than compromise to get there faster. But I have the luxury and I have the mental mind state of where that's what matters to me. And I want more of you to stop worrying about how quickly you get there. I want more of you to stop worrying about how fast. Oh, but can I get to this in a year? Can I get to that in a year? Like, if you want something and it takes 10 years, like, are you going to give up because you aren't getting there fast enough year 6? Like, real talk. So, I mean, that's the answer. So I'm looking at let's go back to Nathaniel's. Like, I had to go on that tangent for a reason, but let's go back to Nathaniel's channel. Like, so this looks like this is a personal development channel, and I like this type of channel, to be honest. This is the kind of channel that I like. The problem is, aside from the thumbnails, I feel like the way that's set up makes it feel all over the place, even if it's not. I mean, look at the quality of the video. The quality of the video here and what it is does not match at all what we have in terms of the quality of a thumbnail, overall brand presentation. This is good. The channel artwork is there, but it also is not telling us what the value proposition of the channel is. But there's no correlation between the quality of this thumbnail, which, by the way, I thought I put a ban on people using red text in their thumbnails. Thought I made that a rule. But there's, like, look, I would not expect this quality of production and, you know, an intro and all of these really strong elements. I would not expect that when I see this thumbnail attached to it. And that's why I keep harping on thumbnails, is because thumbnails set an expectation. Thumbnails are a promise. Also, this vertical jumping training with resistance bands feels out of place when I look at the majority of their content. Now, granted, the how to increase your vertical jump, I get like there. So like, but I don't see. And then here's another vertical jump video. I'm like, it's harder for me to wrap my head around what the channel is because you don't have personal development, health and fitness, wellness, motivation. Like, you don't have the bullet points of what the channel is, so I don't know. Now, granted, you have a playlist thing here, and that's awesome, but that's not reflected in the branding, and there's not enough differentiating different thumbnails for me to know what type of video this is. There's no color blocking and color coding to where if you're gonna have all these different styles of videos, they should have different styles of thumbnails so that I can immediately single them out. Like, that's a real thing. So those are things I would definitely change, because I think it's your packaging. It's clearly not your production, but your packaging is a big deal, and it puts your stuff into context. And I think there's just a lack of context to the channel. All right, so what do we got here? Across the board. I'm going to be painfully honest. This channel artwork is still really not great. And you guys are musicians. You're a rock band. Enough of that isn't reflected here. Think about, like, JaredPolin.com. Jared Polin is one of my favorite YouTube photographers, one of my favorite creative entrepreneurs, and he specifically does a lot of music photography. So, like, when I look at, and, like, right now this is a photo series about his mother, but, like, music portfolio. If I go to the music portfolio and I go to music photo stories, so, like, this is the kind of thing that should be the YouTube channel artwork for something like this. Do you see that? Like, this is the kind of thing that makes good thumbnails and good YouTube channel artwork if you are a musician. Like, the photo stories that go with being a musician, like, that kind of photography, that style, like, would do better here. And the same thing with these thumbnails. So I feel like there's a real thing here, and that's why I went to, like, an actual a photographer that does music-based photography to teach this lesson here, is because not everything will come down to, like, graphic design and putting text and colorful text on stuff. Photos tell a story, and if you're a musician, look at what you have that you could be working with in terms of an approach, and then think about how something like having good photography changes everything with a brand, because it would be wildly different, you know, and so I think that would matter, especially for a vlog, like a lot of vloggers use photography because, like, again, this isn't cutting it. This doesn't entice a click. So again, thumbnails are so important because a lot of you, what you're missing with and I keep harping on thumbnails, and no, it's not just because I want to sell my thumbnail kit product, but it's real talk. Like, getting people to click matters. Like, this isn't the worst thumbnail thing, but it looks so repetitive, right? It looks way too repetitive to where I can't tell the difference between this one and this one at a glance too easily, and to be decided to click on it. And then there's a lot of text to read here. There's a lot going on to make me think about what something is. A good photo would just be so much better than that, and would entice me to click. And so I think that definitely matters because, I mean, that's why stuff gets like 13 views. You have 3K subscribers, but like then you get 13 or 8 views or something. And like I think that the thumbnails not getting clicked makes a difference. And then by comparison, these other thumbnails for like when you're doing the music videos and you're doing covers and things like that, they look like albums. Okay, so I would say you have a couple of options. Either make your thumbnails all look like album covers, which as a musician, that's a good strategy. Make every YouTube thumbnail an album cover. That makes sense. Or make it a photo that's like on the caliber of this, you know, that tells a story about the life of a rock star, you know? Like, so that's what I would say would make the biggest like difference for this channel and for the fan base, because it's hard to get clicks when, you know, something looks like it was like thrown together from a thumbnail standpoint. Video production is what I'd expect from a vlog. Camera is super fisheye, so I don't know if this is like GoPro or something. But then you're putting in like these special effects. Like, okay, so you're putting all this effort into stuff, but then the minimal amount when it comes to the thumbnails. At least that's what it seems like. So again, that's what my instinct is saying here, and I feel like that makes a big difference. Yep. Coaster Fanatics, I closed the reviews like an hour ago, buddy. Like, I closed the reviews like an hour ago. So yeah, so that's all right. Kindusi Racing. So this is a gaming channel that's around racing, but like I wasn't able to figure that out right away. You need to make it more obvious that that's what it's about, because like I don't know, because I'm not in that arena. So making things obvious is a big help. About 2,000 subs. The views aren't bad for it being 2,000 subs, but again, this is another thing where thumbnails could be good. But if it's a racing thing, instead of doing like thumbnails that are behind the dashboard like this, or even things like this, which they do work, I would be doing more of like screenshots of the things where the cars are shown off more. I would look at Hot Import Nights magazines, and I would like Hot Import Nights magazine covers. I'd go, and not with like they always put like girls on the covers of these things, but like I would, from a car standpoint and a photography standpoint, look for things in the game that feel more like this, or whatever the car magazine covers are. Like if I go car magazine covers, like I would go like look at your niche, because look at your niche and then look for a traditional publication in your niche, whatever your niche is, because those people have paid to figure out design and typography, and they've done studies, they put millions of dollars into marketing, and then if you emulate that marketing and then translate it to something like a YouTube thumbnail, then it's playing to the human behavioral psychology elements that would work, and it will make you stand out because there's nobody in your niche who's probably doing that research and thinking about it. So like I look at and would look at magazine covers and billboards and things that fit the same audience that I have, and then I would take and borrow design elements from that. So that's something to think about. Again, this is like a design lecture, but like it matters. Again, this was one of the skills that I brought to YouTube that I think is why I crushed it, is design in addition to photography and video production and editing and SEO, all added up to success for me. And not everyone's going to have all those skills, and I get it. But I mean, let's even look at The World of Speed. Look at this thing from 5 months ago. That looks a lot like what we would see in one of these magazine covers. And look at it. It's the best performing video on the channel by far. Like, the gap isn't even close, right? So, like, I think that those kind of things clearly matter. Visuals are so important, and they're underrated. I mean, my God, they're underrated. But this looks like a much more interesting, much more professional thumbnail than everything else on the channel. And it's the thing that has the best overall views. And I don't feel like that's an accident. And the views on that are like much more than what the subscriber ratio is, and it's 5 months ago, so it's definitely over-indexing on that. So that's something to think about. Let's look at how stuff is performing. Like, again, your recent stuff isn't performing bad, clearly, and you must be racking up watch time because your stuff is longer. So there is that. Let's see what else is going on here. Let's get a sense of what you're doing from a best practices and SEO perspective. Let's look at this video from a week ago, and that might be a good judge of that. All right, so standard streaming style video. You got the graphics, got everything, got your talking head box. Not a lot of comments, but pin your own comment. Don't heart your own comment, but pin your own comment, and always pin a comment that is either to another video or a playlist of videos, because that can help. SEO wise, you could probably do a little bit better. For whatever this game is, you could probably game the SEO a little bit better with TubeBuddy. Yep, vidIQ says the score is pretty low. Not a lot of meat here in the description, buddy. I would probably try and do a little bit more with that, as long as it makes sense. Overall, the channel's performance isn't bad for what it is and for the audience that it has, and it's clearly resonating with people and it's getting watch time. I feel like thumbnails could go a long way. I feel like possibly in your streams early on, inviting the viewer to subscribe by making them feel like there's a value to it because they're into this, or this is the only place they can get something, would help. I think making the value proposition clear in the channel artwork. I really love the channel artwork. I just feel like putting the schedule up here or making the value proposition clear, I think that'd go a long way. So definitely think that could help. So let's look at Kicksart. We looked at this before. This is an updated one. Obviously, the visuals on this are going to be baller because that's the point. This dude is a sneaker artist. But I feel like you should be doing more on Instagram. Like you're doing daily sneaker drawings and how-to in YouTube. Some of this you should be doing stuff in Instagram, and I feel like you could get hired to do stuff if you were in Instagram more. This stuff looks really good. And you're doing the free stencils. Yep. I think that even though you're doing daily, you need to be alternating the colors of the background so that they don't feel repetitive. Because I feel like that could be a psychological thing with your audience, is that there may not be anything that feels different enough, but I feel literally if you are alternating colors of the background on this one, Kicksart, I think that visually would help. I would try it. I mean, because I could be wrong, but you are an artist and a designer, so I think you get how sometimes something can get stale or feel repetitive. So I think that matters. But I also think you have to be watching sneaker trends so that you know what's trending. Like, if you check out Google Trends, I think that can help, and like you can see what there's search volume around. over time. Like right now, like during the holidays, there's a spike of people searching for Yeezy. Like, so that's a real thing. There's a spike around that, but in the winter, but it's in decline right now. You know what I'm saying? So like that's in decline. But if I type in Jordans, like what's going on with Jordans right now? Like again, December, but now it's leveled off. It's like below normal. Like, so, you know, really look at that kind of stuff. I mean, I think it matters. Like that's worldwide. Let's go like US. So I mean, like, you know, here's a spike, here's a flat line, and it's less than normal. Like, you know, Air Force Ones. Like, boom. Like, so, like, I mean, I don't think, like, you did sneaker drawings of when they came out. You didn't do sneaker drawings of the Gary V's. And Gary Vaynerchuk's sneakers, when they came out via K-Swiss, were, like, a big deal. And I'm not seeing that here. But, like, that was something that had attention at the time, right? But it wasn't on your radar, I don't think. And so I don't think you end up doing it. So, like, you know. Let's see what else is going on. Not surprised.
New designs that aren't similar to designs that are already made? The answer is just trial and error. Like with each design, there probably went a good 20 sketches of designs that didn't work, variants of that design that didn't end up being chosen. And because I draw sneakers every day, I'm familiar with what is already a popular part of a design. So if I'm working on a shoe, I'm not going to give it an outsole that's very similar to a Yeezy. That being said, if you gave me a Yeezy outsole and you told me to come up with 20 variants of that, I could. And by the time I get to like the 15th or 20th variant, it's not going to look like a Yeezy outsole, it's going to be different. And especially if you add a different upper to that, it's a completely different shoe. So while I understand it can seem easy to kind of copy what's already existing, if you just change up a few things, you'd be surprised at how different it actually looks. You don't want to copy, but there is a lot of room in there for creativity. Now, hopefully that answered your question.
Let's see what else is going on here. I think a big part of it is, like I said, switching up the backgrounds a little bit, just so that it doesn't feel like it's getting old or feel like it's the same thing all the time. I think that definitely helps. Your stuff also stacks views over time, because like if we go through a historical record, your stuff stacks over time. But I think really tapping into trends for you of what's happening in sneaker culture, what's going on with the sneaker magazines, the sneaker reviewers, like I think that if you were to pick what you're going to draw based on what already has attention, that would make a difference for you. So I think that might be the super chats for review. Is there a way to pin a comment on YouTube without watching your video? PS, you rock. Thanks for all the help. No, you have to do it watching your own video. Blackie Speaks says donated super chat. Thank you. And says you helped me get to 100K subs. All right, awesome. That's amazing. So you're in the Silver Play Button Club. Great. We might need to do a case study then, because I'm doing case studies on everybody that helped get to the Silver Play Button Club, the 100K club. Coaster Fanatics. I closed the reviews, but I'm just gonna do it because you did $15 and you're here. Javerin says, I just want to see I can be a better YouTuber. Watch the videos. That definitely helps. Dave, thank you for a $20 super chat. Afro Tris, thank you. If you could put in some information as far as the Anchor app, I'm having a really fun time using it. Would love to collab with you. Yeah, we'll see. So let's see what's going on. Coaster Fanatics, it looks like you are doing gaming, but it's around the coaster niche. Looks like you've done some videos that have gone pretty big. So, but it's a very specific niche. So I don't know if subscriber growth is an option so much as landing views. You're getting views for what your subscriber base is. So that's a thing, but this is a very specific niche. Like this is a very specific thing. People who like these particular like, so you're doing roller coasters like, it looks like you're doing all the roller coasters. Reverse engineer what... Hang on. Reverse engineer what travel vloggers are doing from a strategy standpoint. If you reverse engineer travel vlogs and maybe a better logo. Yeah, maybe a better logo could definitely help. But if you look at what travel vlogs are doing right, like the best travel vlogs, and you start to do that, and I think the ones that have the best photography clearly are winning for you. I think that would definitely help, because your thing is, you should think of yourself not as a regular YouTube channel. You should think of yourself as a travel channel and put together, and this is a series, so start to brand it as a show. Start to put this together like a show, and don't think like a YouTuber. Think like a television show. Think like this is a show for Nat Geo or the Travel Channel, specifically around the greatest roller coasters in the world, and approach the entire content strategy with that in mind. What, like the volume's too high, too low? What's going on? Oh, you couldn't hear the review for the sneaker channel? Hang on. So that was Kicksart. Hang on. Wait, so can you guys hear me now or something? The video sound was on? Ah. Okay, so I should have stopped streaming like a while ago, but like whatever. All right, so again, like Kicksart, short version, going through this again. And this is why autoplay sucks. Like I hate autoplay. Like anyway, change up the color of the backgrounds of these because it starts to feel a little bit repetitive. That's going to help. Also, look at trends in sneaker culture by going to Google Trends and like do searches and find out what is trending as far as like sneakers and things of that nature, like, you know, and figure out if something is trending or something is falling off. That should start to inform what sneakers you're doing drawings of, and then also reverse engineer what sneaker review channels are doing, because then that already has attention on it. Go where attention already is. Instead of anticipating it, just actually do the research to see where attention is right now in a 30-day window, and then get that attention. Look at release schedules, look at things like that. Like you didn't do a drawing of like the Gary V's, the Gary Vaynerchuk's, and like Gary is like a prolific marketer, businessman, YouTuber, and he produced his own sneaker line with K-Swiss recently, and he did the Gary V 01s, 02s, and the 03s, and you didn't do any drawings of those when it had this massive attention and massive launch around it. So take advantage of things that are happening in real time, and then do that. Like someone in the chat just said that Jordan 3s are trending. Jordan 3, right? So if I type that in the search, what's like there might be a spike, like, so compared to the normal throughout the year. So probably if I go United States, the trend is more apparent. So like really look at data to make decisions about what to focus on, because that's where you can use data to find out where attention is. And so that's what my advice would be to you, because your production's good, your audience loves what you do, you have a community, but you're not getting attention because there may not be enough attention around the thing that you're drawing at the time, and you can start to make a strategy for that instead of guessing. So that's what I would say. The thumbnails are baller, but like I would say, like, look at sneaker review channels And like that could probably help. Like if I type in like sneaker reviews, like, and I see like who has what going on, like, and then I do a filter in YouTube, right? So if I go sneaker reviews and I go in the last week, what's going on, and then like I see massive, so Vince Staples Converse sneaker. All right, clearly there's a bunch of attention around that. 121K views in 3 days. So maybe that's important. Like if I do another filter and I do this by view count, I'll know exactly where there's attention. Epic new Nike sneaker and technology. Like, so, okay. Best Air Jordan sneaker of 2018. Whatever they say that is, because look at the views. Like, the views don't lie. Like, new Adidas sneaker. So if there's attention in the sneaker review community around something, draw that. So, like, Kicksart, like, that's your advice. Is your videos are fine. It's your strategy. What video is drowning out my voice? There's no video playing. I don't think. There's no video playing anywhere. What's drowning out my voice? Nothing should be drowning out my voice. Like, I don't get it. Ugh. All right, so I think that's it for, that's it for channel reviews. What do you think is the most important thing when coming up with a username? I don't think that, like, I think clarity is the most important thing in a username, and I think something you can live with for a long time matters. I'm not sure that it beyond not painting yourself into a corner. Like, I'd say the only thing that matters is whether you're painting yourself into a corner, right? So, like, if you decide to make your channel name gaming and then you decide you don't care about gaming, I think that you're stuck. So, yeah. Roberto, hey, is it okay to delete playlist and videos from playlist? Will that affect the algorithm? I think if you, I don't think you need to worry about it. I think if you have a valid reason for deleting a video, or you think you have a valid reason for deleting a playlist, then just delete it and don't worry about the bloody algorithm. I think everybody worries about the algorithm too much. I think if you have less than 10,000 subscribers, you shouldn't worry about the YouTube algorithm. If you have less than 10,000 subscribers, don't bother worrying about the YouTube algorithm. Like, that's just real to me. Do I have thoughts on Facebook Watch? Facebook Watch is something I'm paying attention to, but, like, I have a lack of confidence in Facebook in certain areas because they have a good track record of totally finishing products to completion, and it bothers the hell out of me. So I'm not trying to phrase this right. I'm skeptical, but I'll watch and I'll see what happens, and I will make an opinion based on what actually happens. But I just don't have the most confidence in them. Like, Facebook has not won my confidence when it comes to finishing a product out to completion and to satisfaction for the I'm not totally committed to Facebook on that. Ginger Doll Shows Craft says, is it okay to change your channel name? Thanks so much. Yeah, if you can. And if it makes sense. Linga by the Sea says, can you do a video on going live? The logistics? Yes, I will, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you. Driving Mall. Heard the other day that 24 hours sets how successful your video will be and a little over the first 7 days. It can, but just keep in mind that the only video I have with 1 million views got 90% of those views 6 months after the fact. So it depends on the type of video, its overall shelf life, the demographic. There's a lot of variables there. That's why I don't like in speaking in those generalities. And again, it's why I tell people if you're under 10,000 subscribers, you probably shouldn't study the algorithm that much yet, and you should be focused on the things you can control. There's so many of you that are obsessing over the algorithm, and you're still not good at video production. There's so many of you studying the algorithm, and you're not good at audio yet. There's so many of you, I still work on audio. There's so many of you that are studying the algorithm, and you don't know the first thing about 3-point lighting yet. You don't know the best camera settings yet. You don't know your editing software inside out just yet. You haven't figured out how to get from 1 video a day to 3 video a day, but you're going to worry about the YouTube algorithm? Like, so just think about that. Have you heard about Hive, the new social app? No, but I'll look into it. Do you think it's okay to venture outside of your niche every once in a while? K-Soul, it depends on whether you care about something bombing or not, or if you just want to do something to do it. Like, I would say that matters. Tankersley says, do a Last Jedi review. I enjoyed the film. I don't have many problems with it. Everybody who's criticizing the plot holes in the writing needs to watch Return of the Jedi and explain to me the logic of the plan to break into Jabba's palace and to like do all that nonsense versus just walking into Jabba's palace and slaughtering everybody, since you do that on the sailing barge in Return of the Jedi after 20 minutes of nonsense anyway. You should have just really taken everyone out with the Force the way you did 20 minutes later in the film, instead of going with the worst plan of all time, the worst rescue plan of all time. So if you want to talk about bad writing, let's start with Return of the Jedi before we worry about The Last Jedi, if you want to talk about bad writing. Even though I love Return of the Jedi, I've looked back on it as an adult and said, yeah, there's horrible writing here. So every problem that people have with The Last Jedi, I can find things in the original trilogy that are much more glaring plot holes or poorly written or poorly thought out by comparison. The pacing of the film in some areas was a little off. The visuals were stunning. I think it was well crafted, well directed. I think it was subversive. I think that the only way to do the plot twist was the way that they did it, because you can't meet people's expectations. You can't predict a film if it goes that way. And so I was wildly satisfied with The Last Jedi. I don't feel it was a betrayal of the Star Wars franchise. I understand why it was polarizing, but as a creator myself, I appreciate what the film wanted to do. And I think for what it was attempting to do, it did it well. I don't think it was a perfect film, but I also don't think that the original trilogy were perfect films either. I think they've been romanticized by nostalgia. So that's your short review of The Last Jedi. The Emperor's backstory wasn't developed until the prequels. So I'm like, that's not the Snoke backstory not being developed doesn't bother me. The Emperor, we didn't have the Emperor's name until like 10 years after the fact anyway. So like, yeah. What laptop or desktop do you recommend for a $500 budget? I recommend saving up $300 more and then committing there, because otherwise you're compromising way too much for a very minimal price difference. And I say that in all due respect, because I understand budgets are budgets, but if you're going to set aside $500, it's not that much harder to set aside $300 more and go to $800 and get something that will last you much longer. Because if you buy something at $500, the problem is that it may not last you as long as it should, and you might outgrow it very quickly. But if you buy something that's $800 in a laptop or desktop, it'll do a lot better for you, and it will last longer, and it'll be worthwhile. So I would rather you get an $800 laptop or an $800 desktop. So that's what I would say. All right, guys. So, Geekdom? Like, me and Daniel are homies, so, like, if we talked Last Jedi, it wouldn't be as much of a debate, because, like, me and Daniel have talked about it, and basically the changes I would make, I only need to make 3 changes, and I make The Last Jedi the greatest film in the Star Wars franchise, and he agrees with my 3 changes, and he's like, yeah, that's the Star Wars film I would have wanted, because I make one change, only one change in the ending, really, and there's only 2 other things that I do character development-wise in terms of changes to cut, and he's fine with that. And there's a casting thing where I don't cast Benicio del Toro because I don't like the accent he chose to use. So, like, I cast an alien instead because I make aliens relevant in the franchise again, because I feel like they weren't relevant enough. So I would go that those are like minor changes. I can make 3 or 5 changes, and then everyone loves Last Jedi, and that's it. And they're not even the big changes that people think you need to make. So they're just minor things. And I'd leverage the Knights of Ren. So anyway, that's the thing. And again, see, this is why I'm telling you guys, I would become, if I was not doing what I was doing, I'd be like a Star Wars YouTuber like some of my homies. Like, that's just real. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this live stream. So this was the small YouTuber live stream. We did some super chats. We answered a bunch of your questions, the small YouTubers, about growth. I'll remind you guys real quick, if you're struggling with YouTube thumbnails, then you probably want to grab the YouTube starter kit. If this is still January, then if it's still January, it's on sale for like 3-4 more days. You get 50% off. Link is in the description for you guys. But if it's after January, regular price $99, but you're getting over 100 Photoshop templates. You can use free software like GIMP or Photopea to open up those templates. I have other assets there. I'm adding some Canva assets. I'm even adding some stuff to help Twitch people out. So the YouTube Starter Kit is a bunch of Photoshop templates for YouTube thumbnails, but also YouTube channel artwork, end cards, lower thirds, all the graphic stuff you need to make your channel look good and have a fighting chance, because again, books are judged by their cover. YouTube channels judged by their graphics. It's a real thing. Those things get clicks. Those things get views. So awesomecreatoracademy.com. Go check it out. Link is in the description. So is your discount code. Guys, thank you for tuning in so much. Remember, there are other resource links. I include the changes to the YouTube Partner Program in that links down below about that. I also have other tools like TubeBuddy that you guys can use. I have a discount code in the description for you guys, so you want to check that out. But don't be discouraged as small YouTubers. Understand that every YouTuber mostly starts with 0 subscribers, except for a few people. Everyone has 0 subscribers when they first get started on the platform. Monetization does not affect view distribution. There's another factor that is a variable of that. So that really matters. And don't worry about the algorithm until you have thousands of subscribers. Don't worry about the algorithm as much. The main thing is to focus on things you can control. You can control your SEO and your optimization using tools like vidIQ, TubeBuddy, and Morning Fame. You can control your YouTube thumbnails and how good they look to get clicked on. You can use Instagram as a standard for that. You can control your video production, your lighting, your audio. You can control all those things and get all those things right. And I promise you that if you focus on getting the things that you can control in YouTube right, you'll feel a lot better. You'll just feel a lot better. Yeah, so that matters. All right, guys. Go out there, create something awesome today. Take care.